thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
I was just zoning out for a second. I forgot that
Just
this
waiting.
is where the part
You were
where it
curious
starts.
what was going to happen.
I'm like, wait, it rides on us talking here. No one else is going to do it for us. Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 306 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. My name is Tanner.
And my name is Tommy.
We're back recording live from western northeast South Dakota, of course. We've got another guest this week. We've got a whole list of a whole full rundown of topics we're going to get to. Maybe revisit some old favorites that we've talked about before. And before we get into a lot of that, I wanted to tell you about one of our sponsors for this episode. This episode is brought to you by Fusion Sports Performance Supplements. And there's something big going on with Fusion Sports Performance Supplements. This isn't your average Fusion SP ad. They have a brand new version 2 of Super Soldier.
What?
I believe by the time
the sequel?
Yeah, the remix to the Ignition is here. R. Kelly. And I think by the time this comes out live, or by the time this recording comes out, middle of February, it is available for sale on Fusion SP's website. I'm not sure if it is at this exact second that we're talking about it, but give everyone the heads up. This new Super Soldier formula is available, back and better than ever before. Best part about it is you can still use discount code MASS with that to save you 20%. That part hasn't changed. They've still also got their Mad Titan high stim pre-workout. Then they've got their Healing Factor post-workout, which has the BCAAs and the full serving of creatine monohydrate. And then the Fusion Whey Protein Isolate. Of course, it tastes great. 27 grams of protein per scoop. Zero fat, low or no carbs. Doesn't contain any soy or gluten. Won't give you gut rot. And it's available in vanilla ice cream, frosted cinnamon roll, or chocolate of some sort. They ship orders real fast over there. Merritt's on top of his game. And they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to fusionsp.net. For sure, try the new Super Soldier pre-workout. I've seen the packaging and the label. It looks real good. I think he maybe even said he was going to send us some to try. So we haven't. It's so new we can't even give our full review yet. But I just know that it looks good. And there again, favorite part, MASS. Discount code MASS. Save you a massive 20% on your full order. Thank you, Fusion SP.
Thank you, Tanner. I got to get it out of the way right now. We always talk about how the Discord is such an active community.
It is a really
for
active
people that don't
community.
know, if you want in on the Discord, you just go to massenomics.com/join, and you can listen to the podcast in real time like the people on the Discord currently are. But in case you needed further proof of it, Tanner, up in the corner, it's pretty busy in here. Even Discord is telling us it's busy in here.
Oh,
you see it? It says, consider
really?
changing the server's default notification settings.
Oh, to what? Like, what do you change to?
For change the default notification settings to @mentions only to help out your members. I think it's trying to say that way you would only send out notifications when you're mentioned.
Oh, right.
Don't you just do that on your phone? Don't you just turn off notifications on your phone if you don't like them?
I don't know. It's a super busy active Discord community, isn't it?
It's the way it is.
So busy that we're getting notifications from Discord. They're like, whoa.
Even
we
Discord.
never intended for this thing to be this active.
No one was supposed to be talking.
Yeah,
here.
you guys are like taking this Discord activity to levels our servers cannot handle this.
You guys took this too literally when you said you could talk and be active.
Like, oh, we weren't joking when we said it was an active community on there.
No fooling here.
Yeah.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, we do have a pretty good list of things to talk about.
Yep.
Like always.
Pretty good rundown. Did you see the shirt I'm wearing?
I did.
Do you know what this is?
Is that an OG shirt?
This is the
OG shirt?
This is the first ever Massenomics shirt. There's an order of like 20.
And that was printed with like a distress scene on it,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It's not just old looking.
I couldn't remember now looking at it if it was just old or if that was the case, but
I think the original did have distress like this, right? You can't tell if this is just old or distressed.
I know.
Old.
And I would have had one of those too, but I think since then I've
Mine has a
destroyed
bunch
the
of
shirt.
holes in it and little holes from like, I don't know, from belt and stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Probably from like 2015 sometime, I think is when we got
It would be. Yep. It'd have to be from 2015.
Yep. It's a relic of days gone by. I saw it sitting there and I'm like, I think I need to give that thing
I better dust it
test
off
drive.
and put it on.
Yep. Make sure it still has all its magic powers.
And does it still have them?
It does. I feel stronger just by wearing
Can
it.
feel the mojo.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Nobody stole my mojo.
Tanner, have you played Wordle yet?
No.
Still have not, huh?
Nope.
I now have some more insight into it as I've played 2 whole games.
Okay. Is it fun or
It's not bad.
Apparently not addicting if it's
Well, you can only play 1 game a day. It's each day.
Oh,
each day is
it's
like
the Wordle of the
it
day.
is like the day.
Gotcha.
Maybe there's ways if you pay money or something. I don't know. But as far as in my very casual usage,
Okay.
you get the game, you win it, or you don't win it, whatever happens, and then it says your next game unlocks in whatever.
Did you win it?
My first one ever. What do you get? 5 tries. My first one ever. I got in 3 tries. I felt pretty good. The second one I played, I got it on the 5th try. It was a bit of a guess, and I got it. I felt good. And then I started the one tonight. I got busy with some things, so I haven't got to finish it yet.
What I was going to ask is like, so on your first try, does it have to be a word or can you just type in RSTLNE?
It does have to be a word.
Because I want to, do the old Wheel of Fortune, be like, I'm going to hit up all the most popular letters and then I'll know if those are in there
Yep,
or
it does
not.
have to be a word, so you can see it there. A yellow letter would indicate that it is a letter that belongs in the word, but it's not in the right spot. Green would be it's in the correct spot.
Someone probably knows this, but I assume there's one word that's always the best to start off.
Probably.
With Wordle.
Yeah, I bet
it's
there
just
is.
like in Wheel of Fortune, by the numbers RSTLNE, whatever are the.
So you brought up Wheel of Fortune twice now here, Tanner.
Yeah.
I have to say, my wife likes to watch Wheel of Fortune.
My wife.
She likes to watch Wheel of Fortune.
Is Pat Sajak still the host?
He's still the host.
Is Vanna White still
She is still the letter lady.
flipper? Yeah.
Just tonight, we saw History Made. Actually, last night we saw History Made on Wheel of Fortune. It was the first time ever, 2 nights in a row, where someone won $100,000. 2 nights in a row. Like normally the big money one.
Yeah.
First of all, a lot of times people don't even win the last thing, And normally the big money one or the normal price is like $38,000.
Is there the mini wheel that you spill?
Yeah, the mini wheel.
Is that
you
still a
spin
thing?
it. Yep.
And it's
you
when
go
you
to
fill
your
out the
spot,
card.
you read the thing, and
Because
then
it's
when
either
it's
like
done,
a card or $20,000 or.
and it's usually like $38,000 or 39 or a car that's right in that basically same value. But there's always like $100,000 one in there.
So for a $38,000 car now, it's like a 6-year-old used
it's like
SUV, or like a 12-year-old used SUV with
It is a
100,000 miles on it.
It's a Honda Civic that is recently out of its lease. Yeah. But like, what was it? 2 nights ago, the guy got 100,000, and we thought, wow, don't see that too often. Then he was kind of making jokes like, "Oh man, it'd be crazy to see 2 in a row." Last night, the guy solves the puzzle. The guy solves the puzzle. $100,000. He goes 2 nights in a row. Never happened in the history
of the Wheel
of Fortune. Then he kept making jokes. He's like, "Yeah, tonight if we got a third one happens, I'm going to Vegas."
Yeah.
And the lady says the things. She got like 1 letter. He's like, "Oof. I guess good luck with
Not
this."
a lot of help.
Yep. Yes. That is what he says. Not a lot of help. Not a lot of help.
Not a lot of help.
Right away. Guesses it. Goes $100,000 3 nights in a row. Pretty crazy, huh?
Dang. I bet it's rigged.
And that's probably
Pumping up.
He, goes, he said, "We will be in front of a congressional committee." On, he's always got some dumb remark. But, that's probably more than I ever want to talk about. The Price is Right ever.
Wheel of
Fortune. God, can't get those right.
What's better?
I don't know. I don't know actually. I feel like when you're a kid, you say Price is Right because it's always all these people screaming and yelling.
Right.
It's all these gimmicky games. I don't actually. No, I don't really care that much. What do you think?
My initial gut reaction, I was going to say The Price is Right, but actually, as I think about it, like the game itself, I'm more interested in playing along with the Wheel of Fortune.
You can actually kind of play along.
Right.
Price is Right. It's just a bunch of people screaming prices.
Right. Yeah, that's actually kind of annoying. I think your wife is probably like about 50 years below the average Wheel of Fortune watching age, though.
I've discussed this multiple times with her because all of the commercials are geared at people that are geriatric.
Right. Well, Jeopardy is better than the Wheel of Fortune, too.
After that,
I do like Jeopardy.
After that, they had the college edition of Jeopardy.
College edition Jeopardy I really like. I think college...
Do they do way easier questions for that?
I think they are easier.
Okay, because I don't watch Jeopardy very often, and that came on.
Or maybe it's just questions we generally
that's what I couldn't
get
tell
better,
if it was just like relevant to us.
To me, they are easier questions.
Yeah. And I was saying that. I'm like, damn, if I was on Jeopardy, I'd be winning money right now. This would be good because watched a couple weeks ago and it was not so hot. But yeah, I was feeling in my element on this one.
Yep.
Okay, we've really covered all the game shows that
Yeah.
exist now.
Not all the game shows. We'll circle back around on that someday.
Okay, what else do we got here?
Well, what don't we have? That might be a shorter question to answer.
Have you been keeping up on the Olympics at all?
No, I know about like the this is what I know about the Olympics. This is Tanner poorly explains the 2022 Winter Olympics.
Yep.
There's a woman from the USA whose name I don't know. I don't know first to last name. Don't know what she looks like. Never seen a picture or video or interview or anything. But she might have the most gold medals ever by an American man or woman in skiing or something like that. And she was the favorite going into some events, and she tanked. She did piss poor, and somebody else won.
So yeah, the way I
and then she kind of had a little attitude about it in the little clip I heard. I'm like, oh.
So the way I understand it, because apparently, I haven't looked into this much, but apparently, like where they're holding the Olympics, it doesn't snow.
Okay.
So all
Makes
the snow
sense.
right. That's how these things go. So apparently, all of the snow that's made there is artificial snow. Which artificial snow I think is more icy and crystally than like than regular snow. So I think that's the problem. I think it said in one of like the downhill events, like a third of the competitors didn't finish, which apparently never happens. But just to show you kind of, so okay, this is the men's the freestyle, the men's big air skiing. So that is where they go down the hill. They just do their biggest jump, biggest trick they can for big points. Okay, so I'm going to show you two pictures here. One's the close up, or one's the kind of far away, and the second one's the really far away. So here's what the ski hill looks like. Okay. Looks like you have like some nuclear reactors in the background. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's just like an odd place for a ski hill, Now, this is what the second photo is when you zoom out where that ski hill is.
And someone made it in the Discord today. I think it was Big Jeff, our resident financial advisor. He made well, actually, I shouldn't be giving anyone personal credit. The Discord crew made a meme of that, and it's a drink spotter right there instead of that.
Okay. I've been very busy. I haven't been able. The Discord's so active. I haven't been able to get in there today. But
super active. Community,
is that insane to look at and be like, "Yep, that's where they picked to put that damn thing."
Him posting that was the first I had seen that, and I didn't know what it was for sure. And I I eventually figured it out. And now that I see that, it really makes sense. But yeah, that's insane.
It looks like
that's where they're doing it.
I mean, it's just an artificial ramp,
right?
Or it's a man-made ramp with artificial snow on it, and it looks like it might be in the middle of like the world's biggest industrial district.
Yeah.
Everything's dead and gray around it.
I don't really care about the winter. The Winter Olympics is substantially less interesting to me than the Summer Olympics. And I think part of it is that the sports are almost all rich kid. Like there's
they very much
there's no sports that like what are the events that your average person could grow up doing?
Well, it's kind of tricky to say average person because your average person in this case also has to live in a cold area, kind of.
True.
But
even if you live in a cold area, what's the one that like if you didn't grow up like being able to afford like ski passes for the year where you could even be competitive at any of these things?
The skiing one's a little tricky because pretty sure they have like people from like Minnesota and Wisconsin and stuff that are in like skiing and snowboarding, and you don't have to be like especially privileged, but you definitely have to like get good at an early age and have someone recognize you and then get sponsorships and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get what you're saying where it's not.
Whereas track and field, you can go run anywhere. Soccer, the summer games, there's so many that like swimming, like there's the barriers to entry or the barriers to be able to even like participate are so much lower. On those.
I would say yes. The barriers are way lower, but also your chances of ever being like good are so stacked against you because there's so many people doing them.
But that's why it's way better competition because you are getting like it's not like you have to have grown up in a certain area, been above a certain level of income, had like parents that wanted to push you into that.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody. I don't actually know. I'm making this up, but like there's nobody in the Olympics for skiing right now that like picked up skiing when they turned 19.
Oh no,
and
no,
like,
that's not
you know,
possible. Yeah, no,
right,
that's not possible. Part of it because all that stuff's so high impact. Like
Right.
you're retired by the time like you're in your late 20s.
right.
What was I just gonna say related to this?
And I'm missing
Olympics.
some Winter Olympics events that like I'm just thinking of all of like the most apparent ones to me,
Yeah,
like the snowboarding and the skiing and
I think I'm pretty sure I caught this fact was like Norway has the most Winter Olympic medals and the most gold Winter Olympic medals by like quite a bit, which is also kind of a weird.
yeah.
I mean, when you look at the numbers of
Right.
country
Like the
populations,
population,
like the fact
yeah.
that Norway is there too, also.
But that kind of even that emphasizes that point to me.
that
like
Norway is
where-
the leader in the category,
right.
when by population.
Right. But like they can grow up, you know, like pushing those kids.
Yeah. You do need to live in a very specific place to even
Right.
ever have a shot. Whereas with the Summer Olympics, that's not the case for most of the sports.
Yeah, and there's probably there's for sure outliers in the Summer Olympics that also like would be equal.
Equestrian.
Right. Yes. Yes. Actually, there's like a lot of the Olympics is weird.
I actually, yeah. When you okay, first of all, how big is the competitive like ribbon dancing one or whatever those
Right.
ones are? Like, I don't know. Is there thousands of people that are in a competitive level of that? In
Were
the
we
world?
talking to someone that made the comment about like the Olympics not existing someday? And I don't know.
I
That's
don't think so.
something I could see them going away. Like I think like I could vision a world where the Olympics, especially because of like all the political stuff, you know, like between like some of like China and us and Russia and stuff. Like I think the Olympics become less interesting as time goes on.
Well, but I think those countries also use it as like a bragging contest. That's why I think
Right.
they'd be hard pressed to want them to go away because
Yeah.
they want to say like we are the best. But I don't know. I think people like watching sports too much for those to really go away.
Yeah.
It's just another sporting event that's
Right.
on all the time.
Right.
Like
And that
I should say
everyone
it's
can
not all the time, but
not invest any time into except for once every 4 years and be
Yeah.
like, yes, I really care about skiing now.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard like a clip of an interview of that woman that I was talking about. I don't know what her name is. And I think after she did poor on her second one, she even made the comment like, yeah, it's the Olympics. Like tomorrow, nobody's going to remember my name anyways or something. And I'm like, that's true.
good point.
Yes.
Well, and along those same lines, like when we were watching Skeleton, I think is the one where they just lay down and go down this thing. How many people ever get to get good at that? How many people ever even get to do that?
Only people that do it in the Olympics. Like
Like,
only if you're like, yeah, you're going to do this in the Olympics.
in America,
Yeah.
how many people have ever been like, I'm a competitive skeleton athlete? Is there hundreds of them? Is there 100 of them?
I don't think you even think about getting that unless you're like have a decent chance of like making the Olympics,
Well,
right?
where does that even exist though? Where
Outside of the Olympics,
But I'm saying, where does that damn sled hill or that damn little thing they go down exist?
probably the Olympic Training Center. Like,
Okay, so there's one in Colorado.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, we're in the upper Midwest where it's snowy and cold. I don't know of one that exists anywhere. I've never heard of it. So
No, or bobsled.
bobsled for
Yeah.
that matter too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Is there a bobsled run within?
Well, I know in
300
Jamaica
miles
they
of us?
made one like that had wheels on the bottom, and they could just do it off of a
See,
hill.
it's amazing what you can do when John Candy's on your side, right? Right? Wasn't it him? Was he in that movie? Was John Candy in?
Was he the coach?
Wasn't he?
John Candy. Yeah, it wasn't John Goodman, right?
I don't think it was John Goodman.
It was John Candy.
John Candy.
Okay.
They're saying in the Discord.
Yeah.
Yes.
R.I.P. John Candy.
Okay. Yeah, wasn't that just recently?
I'm not sure. It could have been recently or like 10 years ago or 20. I'm not really sure.
Actually, I would believe that too. Yeah, he could have died a week ago, and it also could have been like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Either one of those sounds correct. I'm going to read us an ad quick. Tanner.
All right, good.
This episode is also brought to you by The Strength Co. Grant Brogy was born in the late 80s, nearly 2 decades after Buddy Calves began lifting. In the late 90s, Grant's brother Jordan bought him the new encyclopedia of modern bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Grant's love for weightlifting began. In 2001, Grant joined the local YMCA and began training with weights. In 2009, Grant discovered the book Starting Strength, and in 2012, as lieutenant in the Marine Corps, he began teaching Marines this method. In 2017, Grant opened his first gym in Costa Mesa, California, and the Strength Co. was born. In 2020, during a major iron shortage, Grant sought to bring back quality manufacturing of Olympic barbell plates to America. His innovation, adaptation, and can-do attitude brought about the greatest plates made in decades. The plates were accurate, anti-fragile, and instantly became the go-to plates of hundreds of lifters at Massenomics Gym. You can check out the Strength Co. and their incredible plates online at thestrengthco.com.
John Candy, RIP 1994.
Who just died recently? Didn't someone just die? 1994, really? Didn't someone just die like a week ago?
Meatloaf.
Oh, no. I mean, I know he did, but I thought there was someone that died even, like a comedian. I don't know. There's no way of ever figuring this out.
Would you say Grant Brogy is kind of like the Buddy Caps of our generation then?
You know, I've never thought about it that way, but I think you might be onto something there. Yeah.
He is kind of the Buddy Caps of our generation.
Yeah.
You know, the 70s and 80s had their Buddy Caps.
Had their Buddy Caps.
Yeah,
which was
it's Buddy Caps, and now we've got Buddy Brogy.
Buddy Brogy.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's something to that.
There is.
Bob Saget. That's who it was. That's
yeah, that's right. Samsonite.
Yep.
Was way off.
Big Jeff pulling through on that one.
Financial advisor Jeff. Okay, so we talked about the Olympics. We talked about Wordle. I've got a story. We also have a drop coming out this week that we want to talk about at some point.
Yeah, so we will have a drop coming out on, well, when this comes out, the drop will release on Thursday, like always, what is the actual date?
The 17th.
17th, it's going down. And we don't want to give too much away, but this drop might fulfill some real wishes for people out there.
Yep, there's a real, I mean, this is the biggest thing we've come out with since the Drink Spotter.
This is.
That's
the Drink
for sure,
Spotter
right?
Revolutionized beverage safety.
Right.
This next thing is going to revolutionize
Something
another
else.
thing.
Yeah.
And we're not
else.
saying that lightly. This is a game changer for us.
Yeah. It really is. You know, I mean, we joke about everything, and it really kind of is. It's a next step.
It's a new league. It's a new ball game for us.
It is a whole new ball game with this next thing. Guess we can't spoil too much,
Yeah,
but it will be.
trying to-
That'll be coming out Thursday. We've got a few other items in that release. There's another new item that a lot of people would be excited about that we're not positive if it's going to make it into this release or not yet, because this haven't showed up
Bit
for
of a
us
time
yet.
crunch.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't make it in this one, it will for sure be coming out shortly after.
Yep. And we got a couple new teas in this drop too that I think people will be excited about also.
Yeah, God, I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to
Save
spill
that.
any beans on this.
No, especially the cool ones.
No, I got my beans on ice. I do not want to spill those.
And then Wednesday this week, the 16th, that's when we'll be doing our Reddit
Ooh,
AMA.
yeah.
You'll be able to ask us anything.
Next week's gonna be one for the
You
record
can literally
books.
ask us anything on Reddit and we'll answer
Anything.
it.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to answer. They can
True.
ask anything. We
True.
don't
You
necessarily-
can ask anything. It's
Yeah.
not an answer.
We wouldn't say
It's not an us answer everything.
yeah, it's not an AE answer
Yeah.
everything. So I'm excited for that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Never thought I'd get to do one of those.
So we'll listen more. Watch out for the drop. We'll talk about it in detail next week when we record again. But we're pretty excited about it, wouldn't you say?
We are.
We've got high hopes.
I have high. This is like the Drink Spotter. We had pretty high hopes, and it would really suck if they were crushed.
Yep.
Fortunately for us, they were not. In the same situation on this one. Got some very, very lofty hopes.
Yes. I'm wondering if we should save the story for, because I
So
do
we
have
don't-
a
so we
I
don't
have a
run out of
really
time?
good, I have a really fun Massenomics story that I'm excited to tell, and I'm just wondering if we should save that till after we talk to Brian today, and then also it'll give the Discord crew a reason to make sure to tune into this next week when
Maybe that's what we should do then.
Okay. It is a very good story though, just to tease everyone a little bit. I've got this real fun, interesting. It involves the law. I will say the law was involved, and that's all I'm going to tease for now.
Okay. You have my interest.
Has everyone's interest peaked on that?
Very interesting.
Okay. But something we can get to now is supporting our supporting members.
Yeah.
Now that's, and you didn't have a beverage over there, did you?
Oh. Okay. Let's do beverage first. Beverage
Okay.
first. Then we'll do
Okay.
supporting member. Tanner, I'm very glad you reminded me. I
Yeah.
kept sitting here thinking, what do we? Okay. Put your damn blindfold on.
Okay. This is a blindfold.
This is a blindfolder. I'm excited for this one.
So now we're even building suspense on supporting our supporting members.
Like big key. Oh, you can't see it. But,
Well, I have a blindfold on, Tommy.
yeah. Okay, you ready for this?
Yep. I'm fully blindfolded.
This is a
Can't even tell where my microphone's
in
at.
the can. Tanner,
What state are we in now? I
the
can't.
can is in your
That's
hand.
a can. That is a
can.
tall boy.
Tall, skinny boy.
Like the can feels like one of those big Red Bulls to me, even though I don't really know because I've never had a big Red Bull. Whoa.
Okay.
That tastes good. Let's see. I'm getting tropical vibes.
Okay.
You know,
Like tropical Skittles.
at first I thought there was something grapefruity. Now then it was hitting me a little more tropical, more like coconut. But then I'm wondering if it's a little pineapple. I don't know. It feels very tropical. It's like a spark. I feel it's. I don't think these are flavors they often mix, but I'm saying it's like coconut pineapple, or maybe like it's like tropical punch or something like. I think it's like coconut pineapple is my best guess.
Okay. I don't think that's a bad guess. Why don't you go ahead and take a look?
Tropical mango.
Did you take a closer look here?
Oh, is this an alcoholic beverage?
It is.
Oh.
You cannot taste alcohol in there,
No,
can you?
No, let me take a closer look at this now that
So we have a Topo Chico tropical mango hard seltzer.
everyone's really in on that game.
I
aren't they?
did not know that they were a part of this game at all.
Did somebody tip you off on this? or-
My brother brought over a case
Okay.
of them. And
Topo Chico hard seltzer spiked sparkling water. Is it do you have to call it a hard seltzer and a spiked sparkling
that
water?
kind of seems redundant, doesn't it?
Yeah. Tropical mango. So I did have the tropical.
You were, yeah. That was a pretty
I
good
felt
guess.
the tropical vibes.
Uh-huh. I would never think to say mango. I actually don't really consider myself much of a mango person, but this is pretty good.
And you know, I guess maybe once I know that it has booze in it, like it does. I didn't. I wasn't headed that. I didn't even have that feeling.
No,
though.
I wouldn't have gone that way.
But now,
with
when I know, then I think I kind of know.
uh-huh.
I just don't know if it's my favorite flavor.
No, I'm still not a mango guy. Like
No.
that's never gonna be my first choice, but it's good.
Yeah,
I could definitely recommend these.
I'd give this particular one a 3. I guess is what I would say.
I'd go 3. I'd go 3.5 on this.
3.5 JD power.
Yep,
and
I'd go
saucy
3.5
at swords.
JDs.
Okay. Well, very good. Now let's get to our supporting members segment, and this is a relatively new segment that we've had on the podcast. It's relatively new in the sense of this is our 306th episode, and we've only done it like 10 times.
Everything's relatively new on that time scale.
It's a relatively new segment, one of our fastest growing segments in popularity for sure.
I could say one of our more active segments.
It is. There's like always this buzz around like, oh, what's going to be on supporting our supporting members this week? Like we better tune in to find out because it's a relatively new segment
like
and it seems
palpable. You can feel it.
Yes, you can. You can actually. It goes like da 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 da, and that's supporting.
It goes to the beat of Staying Alive. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified.
Not that part. So what supporting our supporting members is we have a group of supporting members who choose to support us through our website. There's an option there. What's the website? The actual specific URL?
Massenomics.com/join.
You can do that, or just go to our shop and our website. Go like
It's
a third of the way down, you'll find it. There's a picture of a couple of us sitting there, Tommy and I, in our chairs, like just like this right now. And you can choose to be a supporting member. There's a few different options there. There's like 4 different options you can pick from. All of those options get you into our Discord crew. Extremely active. We mentioned it a few times here. There's a discount code involved. It's in there. You have to get into the Discord community and you can find that code. It's like a treasure hunt.
It is.
I almost don't even really know where it's at,
kinda
but
like,
people are finding it. So
it's
it's
kind of like
apparently
that Nicolas Cage movie where he's looking for the Declaration of Independence.
Ghost Rider.
That's the one. Yep. Yep. Exactly what I was thinking.
The one where they're have to land the plane on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're cons.
Yep. Yep. Ghost Air.
Face Off. Have you seen Face Off before?
I'm not. No.
Okay. So is Nicolas Cage, do you think, I mean, is he a good actor?
I don't feel like I have enough insight as to
Okay.
actually answer that. But I think at one point people would say yes. I don't even know.
I mean, he's
anymore.
kind of a meme in himself,
Yeah,
right?
that's why I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't watched an actual new Nicolas Cage movie in probably
Okay, I'm going to tell you right
15
now,
years?
my favorite Nicolas Cage movie,
what is it?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
I've actually never seen that one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it for like
What's the
15 years, but
What's the?
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. There was.
And he listens to, before like a big thing, he has to listen to like Lowrider, and then he's like, okay,
Oh,
let's
that's like
ride.
his
Yeah.
meditation.
And he's like, okay, let's ride
Yeah.
or drive.
There's
or whatever.
one that gets hyped up a lot. Is it like something Arizona? It's like Chasing Arizona or something
Okay.
like that. That's
Actually,
like a
Con
really
Air
early
is
one.
kind of good. I don't know that holds up at
And
all.
Actually, no, I do remember renting that movie when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you a thing about it because that would have been, I think,
Raising
relatively new.
Arizona.
Raising Arizona, there you go.
Yeah.
I think that one's supposed to be pretty good. Amazing movie. There we go. Right there.
Okay.
And then, of course, what the hell's the one with the Declaration of Independence?
National Treasure.
National Treasure. Yeah.
Or National Treasure 2.
That has to be one of his more popular ones, right? Like those are pretty big movies at the time.
Like that seems like a not good movie, but I can't lie. I'm entertained by National Treasure. At
See,
least
I
was
don't
at
remember
the-
that. I don't
Yeah.
remember it really either.
There's a scene where they're like at Mount Rushmore,
Really?
or they're at like what's the lake, like one of the big lakes that's right.
Pactola or
Yeah,
Sheridan?
I think they're at like one of those lakes.
Really?
Even yeah.
See, I don't even remember it.
I don't know if they were really there or not though. If it's probably
Yeah.
filmed in some other place.
Yeah.
What
Why were
was
we
it?
talking about
Oh,
Nicolas
supporting our supporting
Oh,
members,
yeah.
of course. So you can be a supporting member, and then so every week on the show, we like to highlight a few of those people. You know, they support us. We like to turn around and support them a little bit. So for this week, we had a couple people that just recently competed in powerlifting. Are you familiar?
I have heard of such a thing.
Okay, and the first one was Jacked and Ginger. He goes by on Instagram and in the Discord crew. He just competed this week, and I think he had a total meet PR. I don't remember I don't have screenshot what his total was, but I do have specifically on squats. He went 3 for 3, 463 pounds on his third attempt for a PR on
Nice.
squat. And I think overall on the day he had a full powerlifting total PR too. And
That's really all that matters.
yeah, Jacked and Ginger.
I would say those are the only two things that matter: a squat PR and a total PR.
That's what I always
That's
have
all
said.
I ever care about.
Yep. And then the next one is Big Austin. Big Austin Turner.
Yep.
He
I saw that.
competed and he did a squat PR with 391 pounds, a bench PR 226 pounds, a deadlift PR 468, total PR obviously of 1,086 pounds.
Nice. Under the tutelage of Jonathan Oldham.
Yeah, coached by the one and only Big Jonathan.
Yeah. Was that his first meet? Do you know?
No,
He's done.
he's done. I don't know. At least one before that, and I don't know if he's maybe even done more than that. But I know he's done it because he's got the blue.
Oh
Massenomics
yeah, that's right. That's
singlet,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Yep, I
Yeah.
knew that. I knew that. Yeah, I did see that singlet, and kind of caught me off guard right away because I'm just not used to seeing a blue one of those things.
No, yeah,
I
that
kind of had to do a double.
that does have a different pop to it, doesn't it? And just also shout out to a few new supporting members this month. Just quick shout out. Big Patrick, welcome to the crew. Big Christina, welcome to the crew. Big Zach, welcome to the crew. Big Adrian, welcome to the crew. Big Joel, welcome to the crew.
Wow, I think they'd need like a round of applause for that.
Yes.
Woo! Party.
So thanks, supporting members. We'd love to have anyone join in on the club. It is, all jokes aside, it is pretty fun. I think a lot of people get a lot of enjoyment, and I think you just have to get in there and experience what it is for yourself to really understand, you don't know what you're missing out on until you actually find out. And then I think you'll say, damn, why didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah. What did I used to do with all my spare time?
Yes. I want to tell you what I'm going to do with a little spare time right now. I'm going to tell you about Hybrid Performance Method. Hybrid Performance Method is your solution to strength. They have no BS training, nutrition, and education for the hybrid athlete. Get access to proven training programs that have delivered life-changing gains and podium finishes for thousands of people. Take your training and nutrition to the next level. Get a personalized nutrition plan plus a dedicated coach in your corner, helping you navigate your nutrition journey. Head into every workout and every day knowing that you will be challenged and end the day better than when you started. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. You can find them everywhere at Hybrid Performance Method. Join their strongest team on the web, and we do have a discount code with them. It's MASS, M-A-S-S. It'll save you 5% on nutrition coaching, training coaching, their app, their all-encompassing app. Check out on their website and take a look into that app. They're improving that all the time, and discount code MASS also applies to that, and it's for the lifetime of any of those memberships. So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Just remember, discount code MASS now accepted everywhere.
Everywhere things are accepted. That's what they say, isn't it?
That is what they say.
Should we? You know what we should say to the Discord crew?
Later.
Get out. You're out. It's an umpire.
I like how we keep them around for the last ad. You know, like they don't have to hear that, but we keep them around for the last ad so that they can get in on that.
Are those jerks finally gone?
They're finally gone.
Okay.
We can say whatever we want about them now.
Should we get Big Brian on the horn?
Big Brian, let's do it.
On the Massenomics horn.
That's a big horn, isn't it?
We'll dial him up on our rotary phone here.
What's happening, fellas?
Big Brian, is that you?
Hello?
Hey, Brian, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I can now. I'm sorry.
Okay, no.
I got terrible reception in my house.
No, we're all good. We've got you live on the Massenomics podcast with Tanner and Tommy.
What's up, Brian? Uh-oh. Oh, we're losing him.
Oh, hold on. Let me try to move.
It's that damn Maryland cell phone service.
Bro, where? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Right
can.
now
We can, yep.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, I should be good here.
This is kind of like, for anyone listening, this is kind of like one of those Verizon.
Okay, so I get like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, it's kind of like one of those Verizon cell phone commercials at this point.
Yeah, we're starting strong.
Yeah, everyone buckle in. It's going to be about 45 minutes of us asking each other if they can hear us. No, we're super excited to get you on. We've been wanting to do it for quite a while, and we've got several things we want to talk to you about. So
I appreciate you guys having me.
Awesome. And we know you've been on several podcasts before, and you've told some of these stories before, and like a lot of times with a lot of guests, we like to ask them some stuff that they haven't maybe been asked 10 times already. But some of your story is really interesting, and I think like we just kind of have to revisit some of that stuff because there is so much to unpack with that. And I think if we got anyone listening, if this is their first experience with you, we'd be doing like a disservice if we didn't get into some of that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I know. It's kind of a unique story comparatively to most people.
Right. It is. And so hopefully you bear with us when you've already explained some of this stuff before.
I'm happy to answer anything, man.
Awesome. So I guess the first thing is even just your handle on Instagram, and I don't know if you use it elsewhere, and I know it's means something to you, but Neverstate.
Yes.
I think that's the first thing. If someone's not familiar, they look you up on there. They want to know what that is. So could you give us kind of your explanation of that?
Sure. So actually, I got the name. It's stolen, completely stolen from one of my buddies who had a band, and it was called Neverstate. And I went to go hear him, and afterwards I was like, man, like, what does Neverstate mean? And he's like, never satisfied, never satiated. And I was like, Oh, and it stuck with me. So then years later, the band didn't make it, sadly. Sad for them. But years later, when I was starting a gym, I was like, I want it to be more unique than something different. And to me, like, the whole thing about lifting weights isn't just about lifting weights. It never has been. It's about like challenging yourself in different ways, and just weights is one of them. So Neverstate actually means to me like constant and never-ending improvement, no matter whether it be like physical. If you can't do physical anymore, then you got to go mental. If you can't do mental, go spiritual or emotional or whatever. Just always get better. Like, never stop improving some area of your life, because if you stop improving, like, it's kind of over, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great philosophy to live by.
And what about, okay, along similar lines now, suffer beautifully. You know, I see that as maybe another mantra of yours.
Yeah, 100%. So suffer beautifully is something that, like, I still own, it's just no longer public, but I own the gym Neverstate Athletics, and we train super, super hard. We've had a lot of really successful athletes come out of there. But we're known for just brutal training. Sometimes stupid, some people call it, but we do it a little bit differently than most. And so people suffer there. It's a lot of normal people just doing literally impossible things. So that's why people with like cerebral palsy or adaptive athletes ended up coming to our gym all the time, because we didn't really care about what people thought they could or couldn't do. We just kind of pushed them and kind of saw where the chips fell. And so everyone who walked the door suffered, no matter what. And you always have a choice, right? Everyone's going to suffer. Everyone's got something going on, right? Whether like your mom's sick or your wife has something going on, or your kid or your friends or your financial troubles, everyone's got something, and you can deal with it a lot of different ways. But to be able to suffer beautifully is something that is a not very used skill anymore these days, I don't think. So it's something that I just adopted, and then I'm sure we'll get into it, but then I got sick, and like real sick, like going to die for years sick. And it became like what I live by, you know what I mean? And it was actually like one of those things where you like throw something out and you're like, oh, this is gonna sound super great. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. And then like life actually turns on you. It's like, all right, well, I guess we'll see if you're gonna live by this or if it's just a cool thing on a t-shirt. And I got to kind of get tested with it. So it's been a ride.
Yeah, for sure. And we do obviously want to get into that and hear that story too. I mean, because it is a pretty powerful, unique story that you have. It's probably, you know, there's not a lot of people that have experienced those same things. You talked about the gym. I would like to hit on that too. Neverstate.
Sure.
We have Massenomics gym, which is not really a public gym either. We kind of operate it like a club gym. We've had it for about 6 years, and we're somewhat open to new members and stuff, but you know, there's no signage. We don't advertise for new members. You know, it's in the basement with no windows. No, you know, never had a sign, and we don't encourage new members. We want people. We kind of want it to be hard for people to find out about it, because that's the first
barrier for entry.
Yeah, and not like that it's some exclusive thing, but more so we want people to be there that just really want to be there. And
sure.
Like that's kind of one of the ways that self-filters then, where it's like, boy, I don't even know exactly how to get in. Someone comes up, they don't know how to get in there, so they have to just start digging through, figuring out a way, you know, start DMing people, messaging people, sit around outside the door, wait for someone to open it up, you know, whatever it takes. And that's just a really good filter that if they're going through those links, they probably really, you know, have a strong desire to get in there, which is a great step one for someone that we're looking for. But like you said, you were operating it as a public gym and you made that change. Like what was some of your reasoning for making that change?
Pretty much the coronavirus. Well,
okay.
To be honest,
Yep.
two reasons, right? The first was when I shut down the gym. I shut down the gym approximately 2 years ago, pretty much right before the coronavirus. Like I literally shut it down, and then the coronavirus literally shut gyms down like the week later. So I did make the decision, but I chose not to reopen because of all the junk that went on with coronavirus. But what actually happened was I got sick to the point that I literally could not be the coach I wanted to be, and I was just not there very often. And that was pretty not cool when people like would watch my YouTube channel and want to come train with me, and then I just want to be there. And luckily, I had some really great people, and the Neverstate family is one of the most amazing group of people like ever. Like if anyone on the East Coast has ever been to a strongman competition within relative distance of Maryland, like they will know our people, and they're just super supportive and really great. So they always cover for me and stuff. But yeah, when I got sick to the point where I didn't think I was able to do the job the way the job was supposed to be done, then I chose to shut the whole gym down, which really sucked because literally like 2 months beforehand, Men's Health or Men's Fitness, one of those magazines, featured us as one of the top 50 gyms in the entire nation. And then literally
cool.
we shut down like right after.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how things go. And then once the coronavirus kind of hit and like people were getting charged fines for opening back up, and it was such a mess that I was like, man, our athletes are so intense about whether they are making workouts or not. Like I worry about shutting down for snow and things like that. Like, what am I going to do trying to weave through this mess? And so once it was done, I was like, man, you know what? I'm shutting it down. And then I didn't end up selling any of the equipment when, well, that's not true. I sold it to some other members so they'd have equipment at their houses. But like during that time when like people were like making bank off equipment and stuff, I just never sold it. So it all just sat. We downsized the gym a little bit. And then once things kind of cooled off with the whole virus stuff, now it's just open to previous members for free. So the previous members who used to go all the time still go there and train. And we go there. I don't really do videos there anymore, or else a lot of people will want to come visit and things like that. And since it's not staffed, that's just not something that we can really do that easily. You know what I mean? But I miss it. I miss coaching. I was there tonight coaching. So I still get there and I still do it semi often, but it's not like I was before. But yeah, I'm back to just seeing people in person and coaching.
Okay, cool. Tell us a little bit about your journey here and kind of starting with your strength journey. You know, I know you competing a lot in strongman and then leading up to you getting sick. And so how did that go?
Sure. Well, I think my journey actually started like everyone else's journey at like early teenage, you know, with like, well, for my generation, like cement weights on like someone's basement, you know what I mean? And just pretty much bench press, like through high school and stuff like that. And I was always pretty strong, but in high school, I actually went to high school with Mike Jenkins. I don't know if you guys remember who Mike Jenkins was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So Mike and I went to high school together, and we used to go back and forth for pound who was the strongest guy in the school. Mike obviously weighed like 315 at the time, and I weighed probably like 115 or something. But like we always had like a strength thing back and forth, right? And then we both went off to college and didn't really speak too much at college. We'd see each other every once in a while during the summertime and just catch up and stuff like that. But kind of separated from college. Got back together when we were both trainers at the same health club, Athens Health Club at the time. And he just had got started into strongman, and I was doing MMA. And I didn't know anything about strongman except for the fact that like everyone was like 400 pounds and like 6'8", and I was like, I don't apply. Like I'm just not built like that. I'm gonna keep doing this MMA thing. I think it's cool or whatever. And Mike kept trying to get me to do the thing. He's like, dude, you're plenty strong. There's weight classes. It's cool. And I'm like, I don't want to be a big fat guy. Like, it's not my thing.
Yep.
And so I always promised him and like just kind of placated him. You know what I mean? And we're pretty good friends and stuff, but I always kind of felt crappy about like kind of lying to my friend all the time, just saying like, yeah, man, someday it'll happen. Anyway, fast forward, I end up getting a job with the government to do counterterrorism for like 10 years. So I kind of go away for a while and don't really keep in touch with anyone from back at home. Mike, meanwhile, goes crazy on the strongman circuit, moves to Pennsylvania, opens a gym, opens a CrossFit gym, is like doing all this awesome stuff. I'll see him on like Christmas watching World's Strongest Man and stuff like that. but I had not really spoken to him. We'd lost contact, obviously. Now, at the time, I'm looking for a place to stay because I'm trying to quit my government job so that I can open my gym, right? And I'm going to sell my house to have some money to get the gym going. And so I'm looking for a really cheap place to rent. I run into this guy, my wife and I run into this guy who just happens to be Mike Jenkins' first sponsor. He sees me and he knows me from YouTube. And he's like, hey, man, like I've seen on YouTube, I'll sponsor you if you ever want to do a strongman competition. And I'm like, well, I'm doing this MMA thing. And, but he wasn't really into that, but he was all about sponsoring for a strongman competition because of Mike. And he's like, look, man, I'm going to have a Christmas party this year where Mike's going to be there. Why don't you come to my Christmas party? Maybe Mike can talk you into it. You guys can catch up. It's going to be great. Right. I agree to go to the party. I'm excited for it. As it starts coming up, Thanksgiving hits and Mike dies like Thanksgiving morning. So I'm actually in Charlotte Airport doing my old job. When I get the call and I'm like, I can't believe like my friend's dead. And so instead of going to a Christmas party with Mike, we ended up going to his funeral, which sucked. And the crazy part was Mike was such a cool guy that when we were there at the funeral, like I didn't know who any of these guys were, but I was a pretty decent sized guy at the time, probably like 235, like 6 foot tall. So I'm never really like the smallest guy in the room. And I walked in this room and everyone from around the world, World's Strongest Men had flown in. And so like literally like everyone's like 400 pounds of like 7 foot tall. Right. Yeah. And just everyone just showing such respect. And it was really, really cool. And I saw in these people's eyes, like a certain intensity in lifting that I hadn't really seen because I had never done competitive lifting. And I actually just found out that I had a brain tumor, so I couldn't get hit in the head anymore. So I could still do jujitsu tournaments, but I could no longer do any MMA stuff. So I was kind of looking for a different avenue, and I'm sitting in the church pew at Mike's funeral, and I'm crying. And like I'm sitting here just going, I lied to this guy so many times saying that I do this thing. I'm sitting next to a guy who's crying, who said that he'd pay for me to do a competition completely serendipitously without any of this showing up. And here I am. Right. And I'm like, stupid, like 80s movie. I'm like, man, I am going to do the next strongman competition. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do it just because I told Mike I'd do it. I'm sorry. It's emotional. So anyway, like 3 months passes by and I still have never went to a strongman gym. I've never touched a strongman implement in my life. I know nothing about it. I've never watched a full World Strongest Man. I didn't know who Brian Shaw was, right? So I actually talked to Carrie, who is actually Carrie Shaw now. But at the time, she was married to Mike. So I know that sounds kind of funny, but Mike's wife, Carrie, was married to Mike. Once Mike died, she got married to Brian.
Yep.
So Mike's wife, Carrie, calls me and she's like, hey, I heard you have no idea what you're doing. You want to come to my gym? I have strongman implements for Mike. You can like screw around for the day and I can show you what I know. She was a CrossFit like instructor. So she like showed me how to use like farmer's handles. She gave me an idea how to like pick up an Atlas stone. She showed me how to pick up a log literally like the weekend before my first competition. And I walked into a competition in West Virginia the next week. And I ended up winning. I came in first place. It's really ugly. You can see stuff online, but I mean, I just kind of like muscle humped my way through, you know what I mean? And won first place and I qualified for nationals, which was literally like, I don't know, like 2-3 months later. And I was like, man, this strongman stuff doesn't seem that hard. I train a little bit. I'm going to do okay at nationals. And went in nationals with literally about as much training as I had for that first competition and just got smashed. I think I came in like 22nd place or something. Yeah. And I was like, all right, so this isn't quite as easy. Anyway, after that, I got kind of hooked. I decided that I'd open a strongman gym, start a strongman YouTube channel. It all just kind of grew and kind of took off without me really ever even having a passion. And then got involved with Brian Shaw, had got to go to Arnold with him and like just got to do a lot of crazy things in the sport that like I feel very, very fortunate to have gotten to do. And I was actually competing in strongman and doing pretty decently. I'd been to a couple national championships, never was really close to like doing well, but like was doing okay. And then one day I started feeling sick in the morning, and every single morning I would start feeling sick. And then I started throwing up, and then the throwing up increased to like twice a day, and then 3 times a day. And then it eventually got up to literally every single day I would throw up or dry heave 30 to 50 times. I had stopped really eating much at that point, obviously, because I'd be like standing in the middle of a grocery store looking at stuff and literally just without warning, just throw up. And it got so like embarrassing that like it wasn't even worth eating until I went to bed at night and knew I wasn't going to be out in public anymore. So I went from, at the time, was 273 pounds all the way down to like 207 or 206, I think. And so that was pretty drastic. And then really was kind of did that for a couple of years. And no one, I had gone to doctor after doctor after doctor, and no one had a clue what was going on. Anyway, I go to the Arnold again, and this time with Miles Taylor. I don't know if you guys know who Miles Taylor is.
Yep, absolutely.
He's coming to my house tomorrow morning to train.
Did he one of the years when we were at the Arnold? I think he did something. He did a lift there.
I was up on stage with him.
Yeah, was it a stone
Myself
lift
and Nick. We're his 2 coaches.
Yeah, what was it that was it a stone lift or something that he?
No, he did a deadlift at the time. He's
Okay,
pretty famous for a stone lift.
Right.
Like a stone lift video, but he got an SB. He got to like call out drafts for NFL players. Like, so
awesome.
Anyway, really, really good dude. So I was there at the Arnold with him, and we got to eat breakfast with like Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff, like just stupid things. You know what I mean? Just, it was really, really cool. And I'm there, and I run into Mark Bell, who I'm friends with, and Mark is like, "Hey man, I heard like you're like dying. Like, what's going on?" Mark's very blunt. Yeah, and I tell him what's going on. And he's like, "Hey man, I have this doctor friend who only sees like specialized personnel and people who have done stuff overseas. Why don't you contact her and see if she has a clue? Because no one else has a clue." And literally doctors were going, "You're the healthiest dying person we know. Like, I don't know why you're throwing up, but like it's going to kill you."
And so like at this point, how long has that been going on?
Probably about 2. Well, the throwing up has probably been going on for like 4 years at this point, but the heavy throwing up probably 2.5 years.
Okay.
Is that throwing up every day, every time you eat? I mean, is that like hell on earth, or how would you describe that?
Imagine if you have a flu, right? All the time.
Yeah.
Like forever.
It'd be the worst.
Because I still throw up 5 to 10 times a day, every day right now. That's why my voice kind of scratchy. Just because it's burnt from bile, Yeah. So, it's just part of my life right now. Hopefully it'll go away eventually. Anyway, this doctor, I drive to New York City, and see this doctor, and she deals, like I said, she deals with nothing but like, literally her husband's a SEAL, like she's real into like the whole SEAL community and stuff like that. Anyway, she takes one look at me and she's like, "You have worms." She's like, "I see this all of the time. It's just American doctors don't see this." So she tests me for worms, which interestingly enough, I have a hilarious video about it. I'm not going to do it justice here, but in order to get tested for this stuff, I had to go to this really old man that's like down the street on 5th Avenue. And he sticks a 10-inch probe up my butt. So like I had to get it twice just to make sure I didn't like it.
Yeah, but who hasn't been there before?
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, you have to experience everything in life just to make sure. So it turns out that I'm positive. She was dead on. And I had a couple of different parasites, right? But the biggest one is something called schistomiasis, which it's a worm that if your body touches some sort of water that has these snails in it, they can somehow like swim through your skin, and that's how you contract it. And it kills 240,000 people a year in Africa alone. And so like in Africa, people get this all the time. And you can walk into like CVS, whatever CVS is in Africa, and literally buy pills for like next to nothing that will cure you of this. However, in America, since they don't see it all the time, I was throwing everything I possibly could at it. And literally this lady gives me a prescription, which is super expensive in America, by the way. But yeah, so that cured me. However, the worms had done damage because this had happened sometime when I was overseas with my old job and kind of had laid dormant for God knows how long. So they were doing damage the entire time. And then when it decided to like exposed itself. It just has not really stopped. So now I just deal with like the symptoms of it, but I don't actually have the parasites any longer. But I mean, I've gone from like 30, 50 times a day to 5 to 10. So that's significantly better. You know what I mean?
Whew. Yeah, that's man, that's wild.
So
random.
Is this? I mean, the hope that will there be a full recovery at some point in time that like it no longer affects you?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I had to do 40 sessions of hyperbaric chamber, and not like get into the tent hyperbaric chamber. Like they put you like in a tube, and it's like a submarine. Like they crank it down, and it takes like 10 minutes to get to pressure, and then like it's not like that. It's not a small space the way that like like an MRI machine would be.
Yeah. But
it's bigger than that. But if you're claustrophobic, like it'd be tough. And it's funny because like it takes 10 minutes to bring you back up. So if you're freaking out and you're like having a panic attack
you're not
inside
getting
thing,
back
they're
up
like,
quick. Yeah.
deal with it, man. Like you got 10 minutes. We'll see you soon. Like it's funny. But yeah, so I did a bunch of sessions of that, and that helped a lot. But all of that is paid out of pocket. So because it's not covered by insurance. So that set me back away. So hopefully I'm going to get back into doing that. And I think that could potentially take it the rest of the way. I think I would hope, or at least definitely improve it some more.
Wow. So, I mean, mentally, how have you kept your spirits up in this whole process, or has this been pretty tough mentally? Because like, I just think of myself, that would be really hard. Like, I don't know how you're going, man.
Man, it's really like when you're a kid and like you throw up, and you know how you get that fear. You're like, oh no, what if this never stops? Right?
Yeah.
And that's like your biggest fear as a kid, except it happened. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's ups and downs like with anything. And I mean, when it was like 30 to 50 times a day, and literally I'd gone, I don't know, man, I don't want to exaggerate, but it was double digits of different doctors that I'd gone to as many tests they could put me through, and no answers. When I was at that stage, it was pretty dark. I'm not going to lie to you, because I was like, I can't continue this. Like, this isn't something I'm going to do for another 10 years. But then I started getting better. And once I started getting better, then obviously things got better. I'd like to say that I was a nice guy all the time, but I mean, when you're nauseous and
I was sick throwing up like a couple months ago, and that one night, I think we've talked about it on here. I was like, this is it. I'm dying. I can't do it anymore. That was one night. So
I know, but bro, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, you can adapt to absolutely anything, right? And you think about like what human beings live through on like a normal everyday basis in other countries and stuff.
Right.
And you're like, man, like I can walk over and get water out of like 12 different sinks in my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my life's not that hard. Like, even throwing up, it's not that bad. So like, you can always throw things in perspective. And honestly, man, like anything, like your first week of something is hard, and then second week's a little better, and 3 years is easier than your first, like, so, I mean, I don't know, man, you find reasons to find hope all the time. Otherwise you don't. And we wouldn't be having a conversation. You know what I mean? So that's the bottom line. Like,
so through that whole thing, were you always able to continue training of some sort, or did it ever just like, were you ever just not training, just unable to, or just nothing there for that at that point?
I trained the entire time.
Okay.
But I've never stopped like training in my life the way that like people stop training. I've broken my back twice. I never stopped, like just kept.
Yep.
Obviously the training changed, but through the throwing up, like I was always doing what I could do. And also, I mean, when you have an entire gym of people, and then, as dumb as it sounds, like followers on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, like you don't want to let people down. You feel like you're kind of like not doing it only for yourself. Like, and plus, man, I'm working with people like Miles, right, who have CP. So like my worst day is still a pretty good day for Miles, because like Miles coming over tomorrow morning, like there's certain things he just can't do. And like he does the most amazing things ever, and it's super inspirational. But like that dude's life is hard. It's hard every single day.
Yep. No, and I mean, I assume I kind of know the answer to this, but like, you know, the training is probably part of what maybe makes it not so bad sometimes, or it's like it's an escape from that, or it's just once you do that long enough, everyone that listens that's trained for a long time, like it's just something
keeps you going.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's almost like a security blanket in some ways, because it's a sense of normalcy.
Yep.
When like everything else is like going to hell, you're like, man, like I know that like I'm going to go there and I can challenge myself and push myself as hard as I want. Like I don't get to make choices the way other people get to make choices in life, right? Like a lot of that's been taken away from me because there's some things that I won't feel good enough to do, or like when you're throwing up like so much that like it just won't stop. Like this afternoon, I went and coached at my gym and then came home and I was just super, super sick for a couple hours, and here I am now, and I'm better now. But like those hours get taken, So like, I don't know, man. My perspective just about stuff is just so different now than it was before. Like I'm just so thankful for the opportunities that I get to just do hard things, and make those choices to do the hard things. Because a lot of times I don't get to choose whether I'm going to have a good day or bad day when it comes to throwing up, but I can choose how hard I'm going to work on my squats or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what is your, your strength or whatever you want to measure it by? What's it like now in comparison to say, your strongest ever or at your worst ever? Like where does it fall now?
So my strongest ever was probably about 3.5 years ago. I was deadlifting mid-7s, squatting mid-7s. I'm a better squatter than I am deadlifter, so I was moving better than deads. Benching 505 and strict pressing, I think 330. Yep, something around that. And now I don't even know. Because my training has changed. So after I got sick and got rid of the gym, got rid of the public gym, so that I didn't really have that responsibility so much anymore, I threw a lot of my energy into writing ebooks and programs and online stuff. So that kind of freed me up, and I ended up getting an opportunity to buy a piece of wilderness, which has always been a dream of mine, and
in
moved
Maryland?
out in Maryland.
Yep, right on.
So it's 27 acres of trees. It's literally tree. There's 2 open spots. One's my house. One's where my gym is. And other than that, it is just a complete forest with a river, 2 streams. It's like really cool. So
we live in South Dakota. I've seen a tree once or twice before.
The thing is that there's about 1 or 2 of them. Also,
where they haven't been purposely planted over the years, it's hard to find them.
That's so insane.
Yeah.
I've been almost to every single state, but I've never been to either one of the Dakotas.
Hey, you're always welcome. We say we're from western northeast South Dakota. If you look at a map, you'll be able to find it. You're always welcome in western northeast South Dakota. No trees, though. I know that's maybe a disappointment.
That might be a deal breaker.
Yeah, right.
Might be a deal breaker. But so I moved here and honestly moved here to kind of simplify things. Because when you've been through something like I kind of been through, you kind of lose a taste for a lot of drama and a lot of just like stuff that wastes time.
Doesn't matter.
The busyness.
Yeah. Like kind of like Fight Club, like let stuff just kind of go that really doesn't matter. And
you start to realize that it doesn't really, like you think, why did that ever matter to,
Right. Why? Exactly.
Yeah.
And so moving out here kind of to the wilderness, I no longer have internet. I don't have TV. I'm coming up on 2 years of that. My cell phone gets 1 bar. So it's been culture shock, and there's been good things and bad things, but I moved out here to kind of simplify. And so that included my workouts as well. Like people always ask if I'm going to get back in competition. I'm like, I'm not saying no, but like right now, I mean, every single day is full of moving trees or moving rocks, or like it's big manual labor. And like, I don't know that I'm willing to, your body takes a certain toll when you're deadlifting and squatting in the mid-7s doing strongman events. And I'm like, I don't know that I can live the lifestyle that I'm living now when doing that. And I don't know that like competing in a parking lot is worth that much to me anymore.
Yep.
But I'm not saying no, because sometimes I get like, I don't know, I have too many beers and I'm like, you know what? We're doing it. We're signing up now. And then I'm like, well, I guess you did it. So, but like, so my training right now is much more simplified. So like I'm working on like getting 500 for 20 on like a squat or a deadlift instead of like 700 for one right now. I'm probably pulling in mid sixes currently. I pulled the last time I pulled something heavy was 675. And I've probably dropped a little bit of strength since then, but picked up a little bit of muscular endurance. Like I'm picking back up on jiu-jitsu and doing bag work regularly and stuff like that. So my training is just more about fitting my lifestyle now. My lifestyle has a lot more to do with like being healthy and happy than it is with being like, oh man, I'm going to get like 1 ounce of fame by becoming the strongman lightweight what, you know what I mean?
Right.
So unless I'm Brian Shaw and I'm going to show up on ESPN, then I don't think it's going to support me as much as like being a good YouTube coach or, you know, just writing books.
Yep. That makes sense. Speaking of, you know, guys that are, you know, off training and, you know, maybe a little secluded or anything. Are you familiar with Tom? I think it's Tom Havland. Do you follow him at all? Any of his training?
Is he that red haired dude who like builds his own stuff?
Well, I actually don't know what color his hair is because everything he posts, he has Instagram. He's been posting a lot lately, and he doesn't show his face in anything. It's for anyone listening that wants to check it out. It's Tom_Haviland, Haviland, and yeah, he's got a lot of homemade equipment and stuff like that. But he's
I don't know if we're talking about the same dude.
Okay,
Does he shoot a bunch of basketball?
No,
yeah, that's
okay. Will Hartzell, isn't
Yes,
it? Yeah,
yes.
that's Will Hartzell.
That's what I was thinking then.
That's no. This Tom Havland is an absolute monster. He's like, I don't know, 6 maybe. He's always wearing his khakis and it looks like to me, you know, his almost army issue tan desert, ACU boots and like wearing long sleeve work shirts. And he doesn't show his face in pictures. He's always outdoor training. And he's squatting like 900 pounds. And I mean, he's just insanely strong. You don't know him
so
then,
no
obviously.
Basketball.
No. I mean, that's
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's I think that guy's name is Will Hartzell. He's like the he makes a lot of interesting. That has the woodwork connection though. Like you've got to respect what he does with wood though.
Absolutely. But I will definitely check out this guy. But again, I don't have internet, so literally I have to make like notes and like make lists. So that
when do you do that
library.
stuff then? Like when
I go to the library.
So how often do you do that?
Maybe once a week to upload a video to YouTube, and then when I'm there, I try to download some stuff to like, I don't know, like Apple or I'll rent some DVDs and some books.
So like how far, like if you need to go into civilization, how far are we talking here?
Oh, it's probably like 15 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So are
like
you
I can
recording?
get to a Taco Bell in like 20 minutes.
Okay. Are you recording video off your phone then? When you're
I record on like a camcorder.
Okay,
and then,
you do. Okay.
Like edit it all, and then I have it all set to go, and then just sit at the library and hang out with people.
So like, do you not have like a smartphone of any kind?
I'm talking on an iPhone.
Okay.
It just gets one bar. The one bar. I mean, you guys have used one bar on your iPhone.
Yeah. That's kind of what we have around here. That's kind of what we have in South Dakota sometimes. So
recently I attached a 28-foot flagpole to the top of my house and put a cell repeater on top of it.
Yeah.
And that helped a little bit, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Like disconnecting from some of that stuff, especially when you've got a few 100,000 YouTube subscribers and, like you are in a business where that
is a part of
right.
Like you're not just on there for fun. Like there is some livelihood tied to it.
I would not be on social media if it were not how I made my money.
Yeah.
But every I told some people in a Q&A recently, like every 7 years, 7 or 10 years, I just change things. I'm like, man, I don't know what my next move is. And right now, I mean, I've been doing YouTube for about 7 years now. Had the gym for like about 7 years, then cut that. Now I'm like, I don't know what my next step's going to be. I don't have any plans to stop doing my YouTube channel right now. But it's definitely slowed down. I was doing like 3 videos a week, which I have no idea how I was doing that. I'm running the gym and throwing up all the time. I think it was more like survival mode. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now, like,
Just not
well,
stop
now-
going. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I probably put out like maybe one video a week. But the problem is, like, and this is going to sound really bad to say, but like I've said kind of what I needed to say. Like, our gym has produced everything from like soccer moms to like world champions, and like training, when it comes down to it, like it's really not that complicated. You know what I mean? And at least I don't think it's that complicated. And I just try to simplify things at this point. And I'm like, man, I've kind of said what I need to say. And at this point, I could either be one of those guys who just repeats everything he says to sell more programs, or I could just kind of let it be and just make videos when I kind of feel inspired to make videos. So that's what I've been doing. It hasn't been great for my subscribership, but I mean, I'm being true to what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? Obviously you had a lot of consistency with your YouTube. You talk about doing 3 videos a week, and that's very important to growing a large audience, but that's kind of like the table stakes. You have to have been doing that. And like, there's people that do that never, pick up that much steam. So like, what do you think it was about you and your message and what you're doing, or, you personally that did resonate with that many people?
I can tell you exactly what it was. I can tell you exactly like the catalyst. Now, I do believe that like I kind of have a different message, because I do kind of like a mix of conditioning plus strength, which works really well for strongman, because strongman's like CrossFit for like big, strong people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just a bigger weight class, and like, I don't mean to insult either group by saying that, but I mean, that's basically what you're doing is like metabolic conditioning with heavy things. It's like 600 pounds instead of 225, so I definitely had something different to say to people, and kind of took a different approach to it. That said, I was writing to other channels that like I kind of respected, and would like leave comments on their thing, just so that like my name kind of popped up on their thing, so that if it ever did come around, maybe they recognize me. And so like one time Alan Thrall had a Q&A, and I was asked for questions, and I asked, hey, what did you do? Like, what do you think is important to grow a strong YouTube channel? And he gave me his answer, and it pretty much was kind of like, you got to be true to yourself and, do what you want to do. And he gave a really great answer. Anyway, he, at the beginning of answering my question, said, I remember a video of you almost dying on 315. It was hilarious. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking. I was benching like 500 pounds time. I'm like, I have no idea what video you're talking about, but I don't care, because you're calling me out. Maybe this is my big break, because I literally had like 300 subscribers at the time. And so Alan like calls me out, blah, 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 whatever, right? Realizes afterwards that he was wrong. So he reaches out to me, and Alan's a really good guy. Many times.
Yeah, we've had him on the podcast, and talked to him
he's
several
awesome,
times.
man.
Really good dude.
So,
really, not phony whatsoever. I don't know what the correct.
Genuine.
Yeah, he's really genuine, like extremely genuine. Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And so he reaches out, and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry that like I like made that joke and it wasn't even about you. He's like, but I do like what you're doing with your YouTube page. So would you like to make a video for me? And I'm like, yeah, that's terrific. So I randomly made a programming video. Out of all the videos I could have made, I made a programming video. I have no idea why I thought that was a good idea, because people don't make programming videos, right? Anyway, it kind of exploded, and people loved it, and people were like, hey, I like this guy, and he gave us a free program. That's pretty cool. I'll subscribe to him. And so like my page gained like 15,000 subscribers, and then once it got like 15, it just started growing. You know what I mean? And that went pretty strong until I got sick. And then once I got sick and kind of stopped doing as impressive things, and I wasn't able to do collaborations and stuff. And you guys know, like, collaborations is really where you kind of get to spread your audience and people get a feel for you, rather, unless you show up on like the homepage of like YouTube or something.
Yeah.
So once I kind of hit that, it kind of stagnated, and then I shut down the gym, and then I became a hermit. So so it's been slower, but I mean, yeah, but that's exactly what made it happen, was Alan Thrall recognizing me and offering to me make a video, and I took advantage of it. Alan's had a lot of people on his channel, and I was just one that people kind of took a liking to. So I give a lot of my success credit to him. I really do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He and Brian and Mike Jenkins, to be honest, because I never even would have gotten involved in Strongman if it wasn't for Mike and his death, sadly, you know.
As far as free time goes out in the woods, you know, you said no internet, no TV, limited cell service. I'd imagine, you know, you obviously have things that keep you busy with, you know, the chores type things like that going on. But what do you do in your free time out there?
Man, number one, the amount of chores that it actually is, it's like I'm groundskeeper Willie every day. Like it's insane. Like literally, if the wind blows at all, there's like 150 sticks and a tree across my driveway that needs to be like chainsawed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
I literally use my chainsaw almost every single day. And that's all year long. That's not like part of seasons. We heat our house with wood. So I'm literally doing firewood all the time. So it's a lot of chores. And then I decided that I would start building a log cabin by hand. So literally no power, no chainsaw, no nails, literally all wooden dowels, all hand augers, axes. And that has been a job. Now, that's kind of my hobby right now when I have extra time, and the property takes up a lot of extra time. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing in the spare time. And then I spend a lot of time working because I know I mentioned to you guys, but I don't sleep a lot. So literally all night long, I do like my writing of books or my emails, my programming, personalized program, like all that stuff happens literally all night long from literally like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock when my wife wakes up. And then we start our day, and then my day is all manual labor and then training and stuff like that. So yeah, that's literally like, I don't have a lot of downtime, believe it or not.
How many hours of sleep do you get on average a day?
I'd probably say 3 to 4, but there's at least one night a week where I won't go to sleep at all. Like tonight, I won't go to sleep at all. Just because the hours that I'm awake right now, because it's almost like my circadian rhythm will like reset. And once it resets, it's almost like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh man, like I'm too awake now. I can't go back. You know what I mean? So that's like what happens to me at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Were you always like a low sleep guy, or was that all from the sickness?
The sickness didn't help it, and my old job did not help it. However, I've always been like that. So, strange story. When I was 6, I guess, really from as early as I can remember, I did not grow up in the best circumstances. And our neighbor was a drug dealer who used to beat his wife all the time, and I didn't really understand what's going on because I was literally like 5, 4, you know. And but like there were times when like my dad had to go out and stop. My dad was a construction worker, and he had to stop him from going out and getting like an axe out of the back of his truck to use on his wife. And the police were like in our house all the time and stuff. So like I didn't understand like what like, oh, we go to sleep and it's cool and there's not like screaming and the neighbor coming over to get it. So anyway, when I was 6 years old, my parents, they both had to work because we were a pretty low income family. And so I'm 6, my other sister is 8, my other sister is 9, and we're home alone. And the neighbor's wife runs away. And so he thinks that she is at our house and my parents are protecting him. And the guy's drunk high. He's something, right? I don't know. I'm too little. Anyway, the guy is banging on our door, screaming that he's going to kill us if we don't give him his wife, all this stuff. Us kids are obviously pretty scared. He ends up punching through the window and like cutting himself and stuff and unlocking the door. So while he's doing that, we run out the back door to a neighbor's house. The police come. It's a big mess. Anyway, about a year later, we end up getting to move away, and my life improves drastically, right? But ever since like I was a little kid like that, I never slept because I was like afraid to go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like as I got older, my mom is a night owl, so she doesn't go to bed till like 2, and my dad is a construction worker who wakes up at 4. And so I would stay up with my mom and like watch the Late Show or whatnot. And then I've always had to do construction work with my dad during summers, or if I was on weekends or anything like that, he'd wake me up and take me to a stupid construction site to be a laborer. And And so I just never slept very much. And then, I mean, it's just been my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you consume very much caffeine? Like
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
Just because if I can sleep, I will sleep, right? So
Right.
I never really know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I have pretty high energy anyway, like when I get excited about something. So it's not something I really need. And it's not like I'm like narcoleptic. I don't like nod out. But if I sit down to like watch a movie, I'll never make it through it. Like
Yeah.
I'll make it through about 15 minutes and then I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't drink caffeine just in case I can.
The opportunity for sleep is there.
Yeah, I used to like when I would coach and stuff regularly because sometimes I hadn't slept because of throwing up and everything else. So I would drink caffeine like before I coached and stuff like that. But once I kind of gave that up, I kind of got kind of rid of it.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Brian, we've got this little game we like to play with every guest. It's overrated, underrated. So we have a special set of topics that we handpicked for you. And
all right.
All you have to do, we'll fire them off to you, and all you have to do is decide if they're overrated or underrated, and you can elaborate on that as much as you want to. You just have to remember that you can't ride the line. You have to definitively come up with a overrated or underrated at the end.
All right.
So if you're ready to play, we'll jump into it.
I was born ready.
All right, perfect. Overrated or underrated steel chainsaws?
Underrated.
What is your chainsaw of choice?
My chainsaw of choice is currently unavailable because of whatever shortages are going on. Literally,
Okay.
man, I have no idea what's going on in the world, but it's not available right now.
So what brand of chainsaw do you use?
Steel.
Okay,
I
and
use steel.
I didn't know that for sure. I kind of assumed maybe that was the case, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean,
for
you're either a steel or a husky guy. And,
Okay.
my dad was a steel guy, so it's like, I don't know, like dad passed that down, I guess.
Okay.
Like,
You know what I mean?
I feel like that's like the chainsaw brand that everyone knows. Like that's got to be like the Nike of chainsaws, right?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of sponsor. Have you guys ever seen those Timber Sport things?
yeah.
Yeah, they sponsor all that
Right.
stuff, right? Yeah.
So they sponsor all that, and that's kind of like being the rogue of CrossFit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's who you see. That's who obviously is going to get the most pop. But I mean, they make excellent chainsaws. They really do.
So like, what do you measure a chainsaw by? Horsepower and bar length? Is that kind of what? I don't actually even know. Is that kind of what you qualify a chainsaw by?
Well, yeah, those two things definitely matter. And I'm pretty new to chainsaws, so someone who actually knows chainsaws is going to be like, this dude's an idiot. But
Well, you know more than you could trick us. We don't know. So yeah.
no, but like for me, like if you want to run a longer bar because you have bigger trees, then you need a heavier chainsaw. Not a heavier, but like a more powerful chainsaw.
Yeah.
And currently, my chainsaw is not up to par. So
Okay.
for me, I'm looking for something like it's like if I had like a dirt bike, I want like a little bigger dirt bike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's also secretly just because a little bigger dirt bike would be kind of cooler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I don't have things that I collect or cars, so I'm like, hey, a chainsaw's cool.
Right.
You know?
Chainsaws, to me, what I it's something I use more rarely, but it is something that comes up that I do need to use at times, and it's also in the class of like a 2-cycle weed eater where they just like never want to start. Like you can just go blue in the face trying to start a a chainsaw. Like for me, like in probably the shitty versions of chainsaws that I have, and like how rarely they get used. Like, does your chainsaw fire right up every time that you go to use it every day?
See, that's what I was gonna say when you said like, what's like your selling point on chainsaws? And I'm like, man, it's kind of like reliability.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like when that thing won't start, that sucks, right? And
It
like,
sucks.
but mine, because I use it so often that like I really haven't had that problem. And I store it in my basement inside, so it doesn't like get like the cold. I know you guys get like for real cold. We don't get cold, but like
yeah. Like, what is it like? What was it like? That like, do you get much snow?
no, we don't get a whole lot of snow. But I mean, like this winter at nights, it's been in the teens virtually every night, and the days are usually like in the 30s. Some days are colder. Days are in the 20s. Today was in the 40s. It's been nicer. But yeah, it doesn't get cold like you guys get cold.
Yes, we had some pretty brutal days this winter where it's like wind chill negative 25 to 30, and it's wouldn't want to be chainsawing in that weather.
Oh, bro, so like, okay, so when people are like migrating across America, who
Yeah, like
stops
let's
there? It's
stop
like, you know
here.
what?
Like
are you guys from there originally?
It for sure. Yeah, we are.
I'm from-
So was it your parents or someone else that was like, "Hey, this
No,
is
it was further down the line than that in our.
a little further down the line.
I guarantee it for sure was not January when they decided to
No,
do that.
no
Like,
way.
No way.
It had to have been like that 1 week in September. That's pretty nice. And
right.
Yeah, when the mosquitoes were
Show me
gone.
the exact week and be like, "It's spring break. It's beautiful."
And then they got to January. They're like, wow, half the people died that stayed with us here. Like,
Yeah, we don't even know anyone anymore.
So like, how long does it stay cold out of the year? Like, how many months? Like all of them?
I mean, December, January, February is probably the worst.
Those are
of
the
it.
worst, yeah. But
But
the
then, like-
wild card is what's going to happen in November and
Even
March.
October, and
Yeah.
it sometimes we'll get blizzards into April even, but then there's like it just doesn't take like an April or late March blizzard isn't that big of a deal because
It's
like the
gone
end
in a
is
couple
so
days.
soon, you know
Yeah.
that it is. But like it's so wildly drastic sometimes though. But like we just recorded an episode maybe 2 weeks ago where we were talking about it was -25, -30 wind chill, and then like 2 days ago it was 50 degrees. So we'll get like
that's
these
been happening
70
here too.
yeah,
The 70 degrees.
Just
swing.
swings.
yeah.
Like, it was like 70 degrees on Christmas or something.
No, when it's that cold though, it's seriously where you just don't go outside unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll die, dude.
Yeah, even like when you got a snowblow and stuff, even when you're bundled to the to the gills, like your fingers and there's certain your extremities just stay warm for only so long.
Yep.
And you actually have to worry about frostbite. Like we don't. I mean, you could maybe, but like you guys had to actually think about it, right?
I mean, it is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do your guys' cars like just die and stuff?
If you have to leave your car outside, you for sure are going to run into that like every winter.
Or you have to have it plugged in.
Yeah. People plug their cars in a lot of times. Yeah, and like people with diesel pickups,
Gelling up.
they gel up all the time in the winter, and that's a big problem. So,
Wow.
yeah.
We have
Man.
garages. Though,
Yeah,
so
we
we're
do
like-
have garages.
Yeah.
It's a pretty, it's like almost an essential part of life is having like an insulated or maybe heated garage or just something where you're not in the extreme.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. So you said steel chainsaws are underrated though.
Underrated.
Okay, absolutely. Next one. Overrated or underrated? The use of black and white video.
Years ago, I would have said underrated. Now, I think the world's less funny, so I'm going to say overrated. I just think it is. I don't think you can tell jokes the way. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at a movie like The Hangover. Like when I was in college, it was
Do you
like the
even get to
funniest
make
thing
that
ever.
now? Yeah.
You can't do that now. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think even like all my jokes now are considered like dad jokes, and I don't really want to be considered the dad joke guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's easier to not make jokes because it's not like you can throw a meme. Well, I guess people do, but I'm not cool enough to throw up a meme in the middle of a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of internet access.
I can't get on the internet long enough to complete one. Yeah.
I can't.
So you think black and white videos overrated now? Is that what you're saying?
Overrated just because they were my way to kind of like make fun of myself.
Yeah.
And now, like, I feel like you can't even make fun of yourself. Like, so I'm like, man, there's a lot less jokes in my videos than there used to be.
It is even not that long of a period of time. How something like The Hangover, or we talk about like the television show The Office. There's certain episodes of The Office where it's like, I don't think they're making that anymore.
just
like
can't-
you don't
Right.
yeah.
Like, I
wouldn't
wonder if
rate
like
those.
TBS or whatever is like, we got to cut that one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's a weird world.
That's why you just moved to Maryland and
It
buy
just
27
shuts down,
acres.
man.
Yeah. Okay. Overrated or underrated? John Cena.
You know,
And
here's,
do you know
here's the
why?
funny
You
thing.
know why that's coming up?
Of course,
Yeah.
because everyone has said throughout the thing that I look just like John Cena.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I have never once in my life watched John Cena on television. I've never seen him do a wrestling thing.
Not
I
a
obviously know
movie.
who he is because you can't. I've never seen a John Cena movie. Nothing against the guy. Here is a funny John Cena fact for you, which me and John Cena might have to go to blows over this one day. But there's a video of Miles that went super viral. It's why he got the SB award. Anyway, he and Nick are doing deadlifts at my gym, right? And I'm around the corner taking the trash out. Anyway, the gym explodes because Miles is doing something cool. So I come run around the corner holding the trash and start yelling for Miles, right?
Yeah.
And John Cena makes a comment and says, even the trash man got excited about that one. And I was like, man. Anyway. But
you're
that's
the trash man.
I'm the trash man. And I was like, man, someday when John Cena and I run into each other, and I'm like, man, I could have been your stunt double. We could have done great things.
But you
call
call
me
the trash man.
That's off the table now.
Now it's time to take out the trash, and it's John Cena.
Dude, we could have such a good like WWE storyline.
That's
Like,
true.
yeah.
You could have been
Long
brothers.
lost guy, like-
Yeah.
Man, that's a paycheck that I missed out on, I think.
It must be the jawline that makes the comparison.
Yeah, I have no idea, man. I never really saw it that much, but people said it all the time, and then it just became a thing, I think.
I don't know if you're missing out on the John Cena movies, though. I don't think you'd waste my time.
I'm trying to think of anything noteworthy there. Not that I've seen many, but nothing standing out to me.
Yeah.
There hasn't been anything that I've been super compelled to check out. Not saying that maybe I never will, but I haven't been moved enough yet.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last one, and this is probably the most important one. It's worth all the marbles. So, overrated or underrated jigsaw puzzles?
I love jigsaw puzzles. They're incredibly underrated. There are a few things in the world where like your brain can just completely get lost in like Zen mode, and jigsaw puzzles is one of them. And it's also the best possible thing that you can bring to an awkward family gathering, because then you show up at the family gathering, you drop that jigsaw puzzle, right? And all the people who you want to hang out with are probably going to get around that jigsaw puzzle anyway. But even the people that you don't want to, then you don't need to look them in the eye and like pretend like you like what they're saying.
And they might even shut up for a little bit.
100%. It's amazing. And like you throw in like the game or like a movie, like and I'm not awkward with my in-laws, but we just happen to have a jigsaw puzzle, I'm just saying. And so like it was during Chris's time and they had Home Alone on the TV and we're just like doing a jigsaw puzzle. And like I'm telling you, man, like if you go into an awkward situation, bring a jigsaw puzzle, it makes the talking so much easier. It gives you an excuse to just leave and be like, I'm going to go work on a jigsaw puzzle away from all of you crazy people. It's the way.
Do you want a jigsaw puzzle to be really hard or like?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Do you have a preferred like number of pieces? Because I know sometimes people are particular about that.
I don't like it to be too little pieces or like too little number of pieces. Otherwise, like if you can solve it in like an hour or two, then that sucks. You want it to be more challenging than that. But at the same time, I am not one of those psychos who wants like to do like the Sistine Chapel where like everything's the same color tones.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Have you seen the people that get ones? It's just one solid color. Like you just literally.
It's literally pieces.
It's just like a black square. There's no different colors. It's just figuring out the pieces.
That's insane.
Dude, those people are savants. Those people who like do the puzzle upside down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I like to get a piece every couple of minutes, right? So like you're like listening to a podcast or like you're listening to some music or something. You're like, you get that reward and you're like, oh wow, it makes you want to keep hunting. But man, if I search for like 7 minutes and don't get a piece, I'm like, jigsaw puzzles are stupid, completely overrated. I'm out.
It's kind of like fishing and never catching a fish. It's like, fishing isn't fun when I never get to catch a fish.
Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, man, but I do enjoy myself at jigsaw puzzles. I never do them except around holidays because I feel like it's like mental masturbation, like I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
Even though like I read stuff on it and they're like, no, it's actually really good for your brain and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but I should probably be like doing work or like chopping down that tree. Like, it's not going to chop itself down. You know what I mean? So I rarely do them, but every time I do them, I'm like, man, I should do more jigsaw puzzles.
There was a thing when I was like in grade school age, maybe, that were very popular. They were 3D puzzles.
I remember.
And they were like, have you ever done a 3D puzzle?
I have never done. A
they were
3D
like
puzzle.
almost like foam pieces, and they.
I had one of the Empire State Building.
Yeah. Yep.
How old are you guys?
I'm 35.
32.
What are you in that?
I'm
in that
41.
ballpark? Oh, okay, 41. Okay.
So we're like,
you're masters.
we
We're
have
just kind of like
similar references.
we're kind of like sub masters, but you're a full on masters at this point.
Yes, I am. I actually just turned masters, and I thought about it, but like my friend was like, "Bro, you could totally win this competition." I'm like, that's kind of like, I don't know.
It's like,
I feel like I got to be a little older before I can compete in masters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough when you're also competitive in open. Should you really be?
I have strong feelings about that, and I'm probably shouldn't say anything, but it's like in strongman.
What about the novice comparison? Like if you're, I figured maybe you're going there. I'd love to hear your take on that, actually.
I think novice is a great opportunity to bring people into the sport. That is my politically correct answer. What I really would think, though, is that like there needs to be some sort of like hole punch on your card that you're like, hey, you competed in novice. Hey, you competed in novice. Hey, you competed in novice. That's 3 times. That's 3 strikes. You need to step up now. Mm-hmm. Like you can't keep playing novice. Like that's just not what it's about. And like that sounds really harsh to say, but like, I don't know. I know people who literally win like 3rd place in novice like 6 times before they decide to go to open. And I'm like, that's not fair that's not what novice is for. Mm-hmm. Novice is for people who literally are just trying to see if they like the sport or not. But like once you've seen it a couple times, then it's time to jump in. And if you can't hang, the sport's not for you. Like I can't play basketball. I can't play tennis. Like there's a lot of things I can't do. But like, I don't know. Maybe we should start a different category that's different than novice. That's like no rewards, but like you can participate. I'm just like, because there's a lot of people just want to play, and I get it because you don't want to get hurt. And honestly, a lot of the weights these days are a little ridiculous because I mean, there's lightweight strongmen doing weights that literally Mike Jenkins did in World's Strongest Man
right
10 years ago, 13 years or whatever it was, and you're like, man, like the sport has moved faster than maybe it should have because you got a bunch of guys with egos who are like, I've got the heaviest show. I've got the toughest guys. And that's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. It's cool to see people push these limits. But at the same time, when you're watching people literally carry 2,000 pounds on their back, you're like, man, like, what's that cost? Like long run,
what is the life
cost?
cycle on that? Yeah.
And that's people getting paid. Like in my sport, they were getting up to like 900 pounds when I kind of left the sport a couple years ago. It was like 900 pounds sometimes in heavyweight for a heavy yoke, and you're like, man, I don't know that we should be having foot races with 900 pounds on our back.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying it's not for everyone, but maybe it's not for me anymore because, like, I'm 41. Sometimes I feel a lot older than 41. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, man, I love the idea of novice. I just think there's a lot of people who abuse it. So I think there should be some way to track it. And then maybe we should start a separate division that isn't as competitive so that people can still play. But, I mean, the open division now, I mean, the way people are taking it, like, there's a lot of people like Anthony Furman's like getting a lot of more respect for some lightweight guys like Uncle Nick from the guy that coach would be forever. Just won the world championships at under 90. So like these guys are like doing legit stuff. And it's really cool that it's being shown a little bit more. It's just it's not fair to those guys to hold back. And it's not fair to the novice guys who are just trying it out to just let people keep kind of getting seconds and thirds and being like, well, I haven't won, so I don't need to go to open class. I'm like, man, you need to step it up.
I agree with that, and I think there is a purpose for it. It's when it's getting used correctly. Like I think it's great for someone to get exposure in their first ever time. Try it out, see if it is for them or not. And
sure.
The other thing I would add though is, so like the first sanctioned strongman event I did that was what is it? Not Strongman Corporation, but it was the other
USS.
USS, and but I had done like 4 little unsanctioned strongman things before. I had done a few powerlifting meets before that. You don't have to do novice if it's your first one, and some people shouldn't. Like I didn't do novice, and like I very well it was the correct choice. I should not have been doing novice. Like even though it was my first one of that, is my first one of those, like it wouldn't have made sense for me to be doing novice. And like sometimes I'm like I still think it's a good fit for some people trying it out, and I don't want to dog on that too much or anything. But like some people, I'm like, have a little respect. Like you should be out there,
for yourself.
Yeah,
and
that's
other
what I mean. Like
competitors.
have a little respect for yourself is what I think. Like you're good enough to go out with the open class.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary. Don't get me wrong. Like, going in a strongman competition is stupid terrifying. Like, I don't know why, but it is, right? And so, like, you're going into this, and it is very intimidating. It's an intimidating crowd, but, like, strongman is a different strength sport.
That's part of the sport. Like, to fully experience it, though, is to, like, be little scared of, you should be nervous or scared, or you should have some of those feelings. I think
if you're not, it's not costing you anything. It's not costing you anything. What are you gaining? You're competing in a parking lot, man. Come on, you have to grow as a person from this, because like you might get a little piece of tin and like a slap on the back from your grandma, but no one else cares, right? Like that's sad, but it's true. So you have to compete for yourself. You have to get something out of it, and the truth is, no one's getting rich unless you're 500 pounds and 7 foot tall. Yeah. So like you have to find some reason to do it. You know what I mean? But man, I always tell people, like, before they get in their first strongman competition, I'm like, okay, like, here's exactly what's going to happen in your first event. Like, they're going to say, whoever is up and you, Mikey, are on deck, right? And you're going to go and you're going to get on deck, and your mind's you're going to be watching this person and realize that this is the fastest 60 seconds of your life ever. And then suddenly they're going to be like, Mikey, you're up. And then you're going to go up to a bar and literally be like, I have no idea what's about to happen. They're going to say, are you ready? You're going to be like, yep, I'm completely ready. And they're going to say, go. And then you're going to see your life in pictures. Like, there's going to be like 60 seconds where you're like, there's one point where I was like straining and I said something like Japanese. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to go in all these different places, but you're not going to remember it, because you're totally in fight or flight mode. Because literally you feel like you're up in front of the class, except in your underwear, lifting something too heavy for you to lift. And like it's ridiculous, right? And so, like, I always tell people, I'm like, man, it's just going to be a cluster, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But like the sheer fact that like 10 weeks ago you signed up for this and you're standing here right now and you're still doing it when you had 1,000 reasons to bail out, man, that's what matters. You're stepping up. You're win, lose, draw, like win or learn right here. Like you're learning something about yourself. Man, that's what I miss about competition, is seeing the people. Like, it's cool to see people compete at the top level, right? But almost every single strongman show, one guy is kind of boat racing everybody else, right? Or maybe one or two guys are boat racing everybody else. And then, like, but it's those people who don't really, and this happens a lot in the novice class, to be honest with you. Like, they're literally showing up and they sign up for a 225 log when they have a 185 PR. You know what I mean? Yep. And somehow the day of, they have their back arched in like a 90-degree, most dangerous position ever, and they're pressing it out, and they're about ready to pass out, and somehow they get it, and literally everyone loses their mind, and that is a moment that person will never forget for the rest of their life, and it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous for 1 second, because none of this crap matters besides that literally every single person in that place held their breath for that person to get it. And there wasn't one person, not even a person who was about ready to lose, that was going, no. Like, literally everyone has been where that person was and was like, God, I just hope this works out for them, you know? Mm-hmm. And man, seeing a collective group of people with their own egos and their own crap, because every single person in strength sports has something going on in their head, to see everyone just put all that aside to cheer for that one person to get that one thing, it's awesome. It's awesome, and I miss that terribly.
I think that is awesome. It is a funny. There's not much like that either, No,
there's not. Yeah. And I've been to a couple powerlifting meets, but like people are a lot more reserved at powerlifting meets. At strongman things, like people are drinking beers. Yeah. Like it's kind of like a party. You know what I mean? And honestly, it depends on the competitors, because some guys are douches. Don't get me wrong, right? But like. There's plenty of guys, like if my crew was there, literally everyone was there they would go to the novice people and be like, look, you're with me today. I'm going to coach you through everything. I'm going to show you how to put the tacky on. You're putting too much on. Like, here's how to put your belt on better. Like, you're being stupid about this. Put chalk in your pocket. Like, all the little things that make a competition go a little smoother. right? Like our guys would literally grab those guys and just make their day better, right? And when you have people who are doing that and people who are just like losing their mind for other people, like in their own competition. Now, I got broken on some pretty good guys that now I know, but I did not know them at the time. And I came from MMA where like you didn't smile at people. You were like, you hated those people for that time. You hated those people. You know what I mean? You had to have a reason to physically hurt somebody. And I transitioned to strongman, and literally people like cheering for me that are against me. And I'm like, why are you cheering for me? Actually, in my first competition, that one that I was doing for Mike Jenkins, this great guy named Dan Caraway, who is just an outstanding individual in strongman. And I'm doing my deadlifts, and I had beaten everybody. I didn't know that I had beaten everybody because we had 20 minutes to work up to a max. And literally Dan is yelling. He's in my class. He's like, Brian, save it. You've won. Like, you've won. And I remember looking at him being like, this dude is trying to get in my head. And so I'm literally going for another VR. Like I'm going and going because it was just a different thing. And then like I quickly learned that like everyone was kind of like, man, like most of us are doing this to challenge ourselves and have fun. Because really strongman at its core is a bunch of dudes sitting around going, hey, I bet you can't pick that up and put it over there. That's exactly what strongman is. It just started in like Scottish Highlands where literally dudes were doing that. And they're like, okay, well, you can't be considered a man until you can pick that up and put that up there. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally where all this dumb stuff has come from. And it's just, I love it, man. If strongman beats you up probably more than any other strength sport, but I will never stop doing strongman just for the sheer fact that number one, it's fun. And then number two, like it actually carries over to real life. You know, like if you pick up a deadlift bar, like, yes, it makes you stronger and that will make you pick up other heavy things in your life. But like, whether you're carrying bags of groceries or like a farmer's walk, or you're picking up a sandbag that weighs 300 pounds, if you can pick up a 300-pound sandbag, you can pick up a 300-pound anything, right? Whether it be a couch, a person, you know what I mean? Like an Atlas stone doesn't have any handles. Like pick up a 300-pound Atlas stone. Like if you can do those things, it just translates to everything else in your life. Like picking up an Atlas stone is very similar form to picking up a big heavy box of books when you're helping your buddy move, you know? And that's not something that you really cover when you're doing a sumo deadlift of perfect form with a perfectly calibrated barbell. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just love it, man. I think it's something that really, when I got involved, because I obviously, like I said, I didn't get involved in strongman until I was 34 years old. I'd never touched an implement. And my strength exponentially jumped up. And I had been lifting with a barbell for, you know, a better part of 20 years. But my strength jumped up so much just because I no longer had to be strong with something that was like a toothpick that like moved in straight lines in line with the middle of my foot and my body. Now I had like a log that was like 12 inches out in front of my face. I'm like, I'm supposed to push this to the back of my head, like, or picking up like big cumbersome objects. And my strength just went through the roof because my body got put in positions that I wasn't used to getting in. And like my powerlifting numbers just shot up. And I started trying to preach to people. I'm like, just do strongman. You'll get stronger. Trust me. And like, it hurts. It hurts to do strongman. So a lot of people don't like doing it. You know what I mean? It's like doing Zercher squats every day. It is. Like it hurts your body gets beat up and you're doing a deadlift from flat on the ground like you're trying to like you're a baby picking up a pumpkin. You know what I mean? Like that's what you do every single day, whether it be like a sandbag, a Husfeld stone, or like whatever. Like you just crush yourself. But man, to get strongman definitely will up everything.
I agree. Yep. No, Brian, that's awesome. We really enjoyed this conversation, and I think we'd, for sure someday like to have you on again. I think there's a lot of other stuff we'd like to talk to you about, but not that you have to get to bed necessarily, but we probably do at some point in time. What is there anything, talking about coaching or anything like that, where do people need to check you out at, and anything that you wanted to get out there? I make my living through YouTube and my personalized programs. So my YouTube channel is my name, and literally there's like 800 informational videos from literally everything you need to know about lifting, and even some like me building my log cabin and stuff is on there. So it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool, at least.
And then that will lead you to neverstate.com. And Neverstate is my Instagram handle as well as my gym name and my website name. And on there, that just takes you through my programs where there's descriptions and stuff. If anyone wants to check out my type of way of training, it's completely different. Just because, like I said, it's a lot of giant sets and combining conditioning along with strength. So it's very challenging. It's not for people who don't want to work hard. It's definitely not. But the people who do it get great results. So
Awesome. Well, Brian.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really appreciate you guys having me on, man.
No,
Yeah,
it
was a lot of fun.
It was great. It was long overdue, so we were excited to get you on here.
Absolutely. You guys let me know when you come back, and I'll stay up late again.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Thanks
All
a
right,
lot.
gentlemen.
All right, thanks.
Have
See
a
you
great
later.
night.
Yep.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Tommy?
Oh,
Cool beans.
those are cold wooded Maryland beans,
Yes.
straight from the cabin.
Aged in the trees of Maryland.
That's what Maryland does.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. That was man, he does have quite a story, doesn't he?
He does. And
There's
I
some
feel like
ups
we're
and
just
downs in there.
scratching some of the layers on that stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff, though. You know what else is good stuff, Tommy?
Oh, I have a feeling what it might be.
Speaking of barbells, I want to tell you about Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s. He'd been powerlifting in the mid 70s. At that time, he was working for Image Barbell, building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them and calling it the Image Bar. In 1977, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell. It was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe. He didn't use a chainsaw. Buddy actually used a lathe.
The real deal.
Yep, to begin addressing the known issues. Wouldn't it be something to make a barbell out of a chainsaw, though? I wonder what he'd ended up with there.
Be a very artisan take on it.
Yeah, what about, has anyone ever, people like to do, that's what Brian should make. He should make a barbell.
Wooden barbell,
a wooden barbell. Make it out of
That'd
wood.
be something.
And I suppose that the issue there is it can't support a whole lot of weight
Probably
without
not,
breaking.
yeah.
But for aesthetically,
Well, and depending on your humidity levels, the
Right.
sleeve may or may not fit
Right.
plates too well.
but just for the pure
Aesthetics, it'd
aesthetic and
be-
the interesting
be great.
In 1980, Buddy's passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he'd ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. Strong as a house or a log cabin with the best knurling, and it was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, and Maryland powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more, visit TexasPowerBars.com. What do you think has better state records in powerlifting, Maryland or South Dakota?
Probably Maryland, just because population-wise, they're going to be way bigger than us.
Yeah.
You got to assume, right? As a numbers game.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
What about Maine or South Dakota? Do you think anyone powerlifts in Maine? If you're a listener of the Massenomics podcast and you're from Maine and you powerlift, let us know.
We've definitely sent stuff to Maine before.
Yeah, for sure.
But it might have just been people that just thought we had cool T-shirts.
That's true. If you're into powerlifting or strongman and you're from Maine, let us know.
Yeah.
Is there
Let
more?
us.
There's more people that live in Maine than South Dakota, or less?
I would assume, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, this is kind of funny. You discuss this. Do you know what is the smallest state capital as far as population goes?
Is Pierre in the running?
Oh, it's very much in the running.
Yeah, I was gonna say what would be. Bismarck is bigger than Pierre, right?
Bismarck's big. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I would think it's Pierre. Alaska's got to be bigger. Whatever is it Juneau? I don't know what it is, but what is Pierre, like 10,000 people? Less than that?
Are you ready for this?
I'm gonna say
not
Pierre.
going to tell you why, but
Okay.
I was looking at this earlier today.
Okay.
The smallest state capital is Montpelier, Vermont,
Okay.
at
Over 5,000 or
The 2010 census determined the population to be about 7,800.
Pierre has to be not far bigger than
Here,
that.
I was a little surprised by this. According to this chart, their population's 14,000. I didn't think they were that
Really?
big.
That seems like a stretch.
I thought so too. And then 3 was Augusta, Maine,
Okay.
which I don't remember Augusta being the capital of Maine.
I don't remember a lot of the state capitals. I did have them all memorized when I was in fourth grade.
Well, in fourth grade, it's like, yeah, I could say those things in my sleep.
They don't do, my son's in fourth grade. They don't do this. They don't do that.
Really?
At least not.
Maybe it's fifth grade now.
Yeah. Damn kids these days and their
Damn kids making their curriculum.
Common Core. I don't know what that means.
Me either. I think it's the thing people complain about a lot. I think that's what it is.
So great guest from Brian. I did have a quick story.
Okay, yeah.
Or should I save it for next week?
Well, it is. We're at the 2-hour mark right now, so
crap.
that's your call. You are the. It's your story. So.
I can't. I just got to tell it before I forget the finer details. So we'll just tell this story and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, story time.
So I take my son to school in the morning, and you know where I live, and he goes to. The school. I don't know if you know. I'm not going to say it just for the sake of not saying
maybe
it. Maybe
a mile-ish away.
And we go south on the Dakota, and you have to make a left turn there.
It's funny because we have a street in our town called Dakota. And there's.
Oh wait, that was on Roosevelt. I'm sorry, I'm on Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. But
Dakota's
it is funny,
where we have our billboard.
It is
all the
funny
time.
though when you have a street.
Our billboard is always on South Dakota Street.
Yeah, there's the south of the railroad tracks. It's South Dakota Street. North of the railroad tracks. It is North Dakota Street. Kind of funny how that goes.
Yeah. But anyways, we're on Roosevelt, and you have to go east there and make a left-hand turn. And everyone in the town is headed south at that point in time because all these people live to the north, and they're all headed to school and to work, which is south. So northbound traffic, there's nothing.
Yep.
Southbound, it'll be fully backed up from that.
Oh yeah,
intersection all the way to the 8th Avenue intersection, which there's really no blocks there, but
just well over a quarter mile.
Right. It might even it's
might
like
be a half mile.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. And so the cars are backed up. There's traffic,
which is rush hour as far
and
as
there's a train track right there, and we are the hub city.
Yep.
So once a week at least, there's a train that's going across there, which double backs up traffic for a couple miles at that point, but. Sometimes the traffic is backed up that full length, maybe like a half a mile. Yep. And what's the etiquette or the law on turning into going into that turning lane?
Well, what turning lane? The turning lane to go to the school?
To make a left-hand turn.
To go to the school there?
Yeah. No, so if you're coming south on Dakota, or
you're gonna go east off of Roosevelt.
Yep.
That turning lane there.
Yeah. So
what's that on? Milwaukee? Is that what that?
Yeah. So you're going to turn left onto Milwaukee.
What's the etiquette?
Well, because there's a half mile of traffic and there's nobody in the turning lane.
Well, I would say if there's a half mile of traffic, there's no one in the turning lane. I feel like you can probably get in the turning lane, can't you? I've seen people do it.
You cannot do that.
Okay.
Yeah. People do it every day. I do it every day.
There's nowhere else. There's no other turns though. Like that's the thing.
No, there is not.
That is a road.
But occasionally there could be someone coming north, and there are businesses on that other side of the street, so they could want to get in that turning lane to turn.
Okay.
And if you look at the lines on the road, there's always an opening. There's a break in the lines, and
but the break is like 2 car lengths away from the stoplight. No one follows that. Like that break actually doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that
break is not realistic.
That I would agree with you.
I've never taken it to the extreme of what you might be saying, like when it's all the way backed up, like going the whole half mile.
Well, people
people definitely go. I've seen people do like 20, 30 car lengths, and I never think twice about that. I'm like, you're getting in early, but there's nowhere for these people to go, so that makes sense to me.
Right, and actually, it kind of improves the flow of traffic.
It technically does.
Get them out of that backed up lane.
The line,
And not only is it 1 less, sometimes it's 10 less, because there's all kinds of these people that are trying to get to the school.
I would say if it's around school time, it could be 20 or 30 vehicles.
Right,
less.
and so we take advantage of that thought process a lot of times ourselves, and we've been doing this for years now, and I always think, I don't know what the law is, but I know there's something about this that's probably not acceptable. Of like just getting in the turning lane and just like you could just be like, well, we're gonna be here for a while, just driving in the turning lane,
past
like
people.
40 cars, and it finally happened this week that we're in the right hand lane, get into the turning lane to the left and go. There finally was a cop stuck in that right-hand turning lane.
No one will get out of this line.
That we passed by, and this is after we've probably already passed 10, 15 cars. And I'm like, yes, there's that cop that I've always been wondering if you'd be
put to the
be
test
sitting
here.
there. And first thing I do, because I'm I jumped behind 2-3 other people that were also doing it. First thing I do, I see the cop. I'm like, I hope someone else is behind me.
Yeah, because like the guy in front of me is okay.
Yeah, and I look up. I'm like, damn it, there is nobody else behind us. So then we get past the cop, and I look in my rearview mirror again, and I tell my son, I'm like, yeah, we're probably going to get pulled over. And I look, I'm like, oh, he's just sitting there. He's probably got other things to do today.
Yeah.
Then,
he's on his phone like everyone else.
he's just texting. He's texting. And then I look again. I'm like, yeah, he's got his blinker on. And then I look and he's like, yeah, he's coming in the turning lane. And then he follows me all the way through the light or up to the light. And there's several cars in front of us, but we're going to just make the light. Mm-hmm. Like, still doesn't have his lights on. Maybe he's just going to scare us into being better drivers. And then we make,
because technically there's nowhere he can pull you over there because there's nowhere to pull.
There is
nowhere to park.
He's like, I am pulled over. Pull over farther. And then as we're making the turn, he finally flips on his light. And then I'm like, there's no room on that street to pull over. I'm like,
on top of being a busy time.
Yeah. And it's super busy. And I'm like, much like our Discord community today, super busy. So I'm like, I'm not just going to pull over here because they're going to jam up everyone else's morning. Like, it's just like a pain in the ass for everyone. So I go a little ways farther and to get into.
So you hit it.
I'm like, I put my flashers on even just so he knows aware that I'm not like trying to escape him and get up into one of those apartment parking lots there. And do you think that's the right thing to do?
I mean, that's what I would do. It's been a while since I've been pulled over, but the last time I was, instead of being, because in our town we have like 3 roads that are busy traffic.
Yeah,
and I feel like it just makes life worse for everyone.
Dangerous.
And more dangerous if you just don't go the extra 2 blocks.
Yeah,
and just get on a side road that has no one on it.
Right. So I get on there and he comes out, and my son is extremely worried. He's a rule follower to the T, and he is like very nervous that we're going to get like thrown in jail for it. And I'm not worried about it because in my mind, I'm like, what is this? Like a $30 ticket
I'll
here?
Pay the
like,
damn fine. Leave me alone.
I'm like, I'm not a big deal. Let's get her done with quick because, so we got
lives.
Yeah. And, the guy comes up, he has to comes up to my son's window, of course, because of where I'm parked, which is, he's even more worried than like the cops at his window. And
it was actually the cop from Terminator. And he said, have you seen this boy?
No, that was not the case. He comes up and he's almost got like a little smile on his face, and he comes up and he doesn't say anything right away. And kind of a younger guy. And I'm 100% know what we're doing there. And I'm like, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's get the ticket. That's fine. I get you you have a job to do here too. And I just go, yeah. So I suppose I went into the turning lane a little too early, which is kind of funny because it's like, I went in way too early. I'm like, I was in there for a mile. And, he's like, yeah, that's why I pulled you over. But, I know it looks like you guys are getting to school, and, I really like the podcast. And I think today is worth just a verbal warning. And as he says, he really likes the podcast. I'm like, yes,
that's good
you
stuff.
do like the podcast. Yeah. I did like double take it that though. I'm like,
that wouldn't register in my brain
what
for the first
podcast?
couple seconds. Yeah.
Joe Rogan? Everyone, what podcast? I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, and I was like, oh, cool. I literally was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then he did have to like make sure he had to go back to his vehicle. I think he took my license or whatever. And then we happened to have a small bundle of the Massenomics calendars sitting in there. So when he's gone, I give one to Jack. I'm like, give him this when he comes back to the window. And he hands me back my license, I guess. And Jack gives him that. And he looks at it and he goes, oh, cool.
Strong all year long.
Yeah. So I like to think that is now on the dashboard of the,
I would assume of
the cruiser.
Yeah. Or in the back. So when people get thrown in the back, they at least know what day of the week it is.
Yes. Be like, we're going to jail, but it is Sunday, and it looks like it's a 3/4 moon this month.
By the time you get out, it might be a full moon.
It's those moon phases that I really want to know about. So I like to think that the podcast saved the day.
I think it did in that case.
Yeah.
Yep. You
Yeah.
got off easy.
That
You know,
was
it's just like when you always hear about celebrities getting pulled over and, you know, people are like, oh, you, okay, I'll let you go. It was that same thing.
It was just like that. And Jack thought that, or, my son Jack, he thought that was pretty cool.
I
Then at
bet,
that point,
yeah.
it was like, and then, everyone at school saw him pulled over by the cops. So, he got to tell that story to like 30 people.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he told that story a lot that day.
And I'm not saying that the podcast was fully the reason we got off, because it was probably a very minor violation that we were doing anyways.
Well,
And,
you let one slide. The next thing you know, you're running red lights.
if they wanted to, they could make a set up shop and make a business out of
God,
they
I
could
know.
just pull over like 30 people a morning, however long you could write a ticket and get back to get the next person.
Yep.
But the podcast saved the day.
That's what the podcast was for. We
Yeah.
can finally
Now
shut
this
it
is
down, right?
all worth it. It saved me that $30 fine.
Finally paid off. We can call it quits.
Yep. And that's the big announcement. We're done. We are ending at 3:06.
That's it. We did it all.
Is there anything from Spud Inc?
Oh,
this week that
yes,
we're gonna-
there is.
Everyone's been on their seat. The real cliffhanger has been, what product from Spud Inc. is Tommy going to talk about this week?
Just you wait. This episode of the Massenomics podcast is also brought to you by Spud Inc. and the Hamstringer. The Spud Inc. Hamstringer Econo goes around your foot and attaches to bands, chains, or pulley systems to let you trash your hamstrings and glutes with standing leg curls, kickbacks, and more. The perfect addition to your home gym or your gym bag, the Hamstringer Econo is the most versatile way to earn yourself a funny walk the next day. You can check out the Spud Inc. Hamstringer online at spud-inc-straps.com.
Big Brian just mentioned us in his story, and I'm not looking at what it is right now on Instagram. So he's got enough bars to get something on the Instagram.
Oh, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Anything else we needed to touch on this week, Tommy?
Be on the lookout for that drop coming.
Right.
It is a pretty big deal for us. So
The AMA coming this week also.
yeah, AMA, yeah.
But this drop is a really big drop for us. We hype up a lot of drops, and here again, I'm sitting here thinking, this is kind of the biggest drop we have coming. This is like a big deal going on
is
here.
a pretty big deal, yeah.
And we got the Arnold. We're in full like Arnold preparation mode. We're making a lot of progress on that. That's a really big deal for us this year. We've got a lot of time and resources tied up in this thing, and
when we say resources, we're mostly talking a lot of money.
the capital resource,
Surprising
and
amount
the
of
human,
inventory.
the labor, the resource of our time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we have to leave Western Northeast South Dakota for like a week, just about.
just about
By the time it's all said and done,
just about
2 days of travel.
Getting the cruise control fixed on my pickup next week.
That's essential. Yeah, you don't want that fixed.
I'm like, if we don't have cruise control for that trip, that's going to be brutal.
That's a lot of driving without the cruise.
Yeah, and I'm a man that likes the cruise control.
I don't blame you. Especially like when you have a full trailer and then you're going up a hill and it goes because your pickup's
don't like that.
The pickup
Yeah.
decides it has to stay at 75.
we need 5,000 RPM.
It does not matter the incline of this hill. We must maintain 75 or the vehicle will explode.
Yes. It's a variation of the movie Speed.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock in Speed?
Is she? Keanu Reeves is.
Keanu Reeves, yeah. I think Sandra Bullock too.
Probably.
Yeah. Good movie. Have you
Great.
seen Speed recently?
Yeah, when I was probably like 8.
I don't think I've seen it since I was like 8.
I haven't. I probably actually never even seen the whole thing, to be honest.
People were talking about Point Break
In
on the Discord.
Yeah. I've actually never seen Point Break.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone in there said it doesn't hold up, and I guess I get what they're coming from, but I think Point Break is a really good movie.
Yeah.
And I can see where they say it doesn't hold up, and there's just something about it that I'm like, yeah, it's cheesy, and it's like stupid, and some of it's like way over the top, and I don't know. I think it's a good watch. Point Break is
and I don't doubt it's one of those that I know what happens, and I know enough about. It's one of those movies that gets kind of talked about,
Yeah.
So I feel like I know enough about it without ever seeing it to where it's never high on my list. Because I'm like, well, there's no surprises here. There probably is some, but
Utah. It's good. His name's Utah in there, so
yeah, great.
that might be Keanu Reeves' finest role.
finest achievement.
It might be better than the original Matrix. Get us on that drop. like us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
All of it.
all that stuff. Become a supporting member, please. Leave us a 5-star review. I've got some reviews, but we won't read those today. We'll save some of those for next week. Hit us up on the Spotify review. Not the review. It's really just a rating. I see we're going to cross over 200 of those any day. So get us over that 200 mark. And then Instagram, we're going to cross over 40,000 followers on Instagram any day here too.
Well, the way Instagram works, it could be any day or it could be in a few months.
Or we could go down 100 like tomorrow, and then
that's probably what will happen.
yeah. No, but I do think we're going to cross that threshold too. So we'll of course have a big celebration for
large celebration.
because you know what happens then? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Then you're welcomed with open arms into Instagram.
Yeah, and probably most importantly on the reviews, hit us up on Apple Podcasts, where I think we're at 418, somewhere in that range now. We're going to be knocking on 450 before we know it, so help us get there. Tommy, where do they find you?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Baird, but just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.